think it's just a game. We'll play the part, but it won't be the same. They have a habit overcharging, forcing the hand into a plea bargain. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. They say they've got so much evidence. Trace DNA is taking precedence over unknown blood found at the scene. I think it's time someone just came clean. Offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion denied. Been sentenced to death. I'm not a bad guy, not holding my breath. Rather do life than offered up a plea deal, but I didn't do it for real. Turn the world against me, but I just wanna be free. I've got the facts, they've got the lies. Motion the night. Motion the night. Motion the night. Motion the night. Close the night out right, panel at the table in that half-dead light. Miss Robin in the middle, calling every shot, directing and producing, till the story runs hot. 1-1 from the city, badge heavy on his chest, towing that law like a wicked chain, spitting facts, no rest. Crimes after dark, we close the night out right, tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel, we watch the threads ignite. JJ in the corner, state of the deep in his head. Which lies to toss and which ones to keep instead. Dago from the cafe says forget about it, leans back, spins his thoughts like a threads ignite. You can bury it in paper, you can lock it in a file, but the truth bleeds through, drip by drip, tile by tile. We're dragging it to daylight, name by name, line by line. If you wrote it in the shadows, we'll read it out this time. Yeah. Crimes after dark, we close the night outright. Tear through the lies till the wrong sounds like a fight. All of the answers buried so deep out of sight. We watch the threads unravel. We watch the threads ignite.
All right, welcome everybody to a Crimes After Dark on a Thursday night. I am excited to be here. I'm in a super freaking good mood. I'm listening to some great music. I've had a few drinks. I'm feeling super lovey-dovey. Like, wow, you guys are amazing. I love seeing so many of our regular names here. Thank you so much for those of you who make us a regular part of your evening. It means a million. We're really trying hard to do good things on our channel, but we just haven't really caught on like some of the other channels, but we're working our asses off, and some of you have become die-hard fans. So I want to start out by saying much love to the people who show up on a regular basis from all over the world, UK, Australia, South Africa. We got places from all over the world that come on a regular basis, people who actually stay up to watch the show. And I can't thank you enough for that. So I'm going to bring our panel up. We have a light crew tonight. We have Robin, we have JJ from State of the Deep. I don't think we're going to have 1-1 calling in tonight. I think he's at work. I think, as well, this is regular night off for Dago. I'm going to also show you a slight clip. I'll bring the panel up first, and then I'll show you a slight clip of something I've got on members only. It's scheduled to be dropped public tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's my thoughts about the Gonzalez appearance at CrimeCon when I was there at CrimeCon. Thank you, Marty Kuhn. Love you, and thank you for being a part of the show. Appreciate it so much. I wish I could name all the names that were showing up ahead of time saying that you're watching us from all over. I love to Buzz Lee. Janae, stop it. All right, let's bring up the rest of my panel, and I'll show you a little clip of something that's going to come out tomorrow. It's going to be a members only right now. It's actually right now available members only for you to watch ahead of time. It's about a 46-minute comment on Stephen Christie Gonzalez backstage at CrimeCon from the expo floor. I'm going to show a little bit of a few clips that starts that video. I'm actually going to play the video itself, and then hopefully you'll go take a look at it. Become a member for $3, and you can watch it right now, or you can wait until 8 o'clock in the morning when it drops. All right, Robin and JJ, let's bring you guys up on stage. How you guys doing tonight?
I'm great.
Good.
How's it going, everybody?
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Love out there to everybody.
Some people have already watched the new video, like Andrea Smith. I gotta say, but on this video that I did, I didn't really like it so much. Like, I'm super my own biggest critic. I didn't really like what I did, but I spent the better part of 2 days working on the video, and I'm like, I don't like it, but I'll be damned if I'm just going to throw it away. Like, I spent all that time on it. I'm going to put it out there. So I hope, Andrea, that you can say something positive about it, because I worked my ass off on it. Brandy says it's a great video, thorough breakdown of the interview. So it looks like some people have liked it. Chihuahuas in Crime has watched it. Teresa has watched it. Thank you so much. I really help. And by the way, when they're available members only, you really help us out by pre-watching it. That pre-watch time, the views and the comments that you make on those videos preload. They don't get counted against me until the video goes live, and then it says, oh, right off the bat, all these people have already watched it and already liked it. It really helps us front load the video. So if you're a super fan of the Devil's Advocates channel, it really helps a lot if you're a member and you pre-watch those videos, and especially if you leave a comment and a thumbs up. All of that doesn't take into account until the first minute it goes public, and then it looks like there's a lot of action for us, and it really helps us out. Mark and Betty, you're pretty big in the UK, Lee. I don't know what your algorithm is telling you. I don't know either, Mark and Betty. I don't know either. I tell you what, the UK, I've said it a million times. I swear to God, I'm going to let you guys talk. I swear I will let you guys talk on the panel. But the point being is I love harsh reality from the UK. That guy's fucking he won't acknowledge me too much. I mean, he acknowledges you by saying, hey, here's a clip for the Devil's Advocates, but I've reached out to him and he never has had a personal thing with me. But I love that dude from the UK. So very cool that the UK is loving us back, and that's appreciated. Very, very cool.
Strong Island.
Strong Island? Is the Strong Island a euphemism for Long Island?
Strong Island. They'll tell you.
There you go.
All right. Long, strong, and got the friction on. I like it. All right. Somebody said, Andrea Smith said that they did like my video. It was great. They agreed with my takes on the Gonzalez. Let me play just a little clip if you guys. I'm going to play a little clip. What I did is that I did something unusual in this video. I started out not with my normal monologue, but I started with just clips from Steve Gonzalez talking about, well, the case, the Bryan Kohberger case. Let me play a little bit of that for you real quick. Hopefully the audio will play.
Do an Alford plea, and we were like,
Stop. Again, we have to remove this old one. And then we can restart this, maybe. All right. How do I restart it? That's not it. Hold on.
everyone was like, we ain't doing. I think his true motives were he ran the risk of him saying, yeah, I stalked those girls 23 times. I did this right in front of your faces. And you guys all look like idiots. I stalked him. I got right up there. I got into the house. And then he would have had to go tell the university every single time he did is documented now.
If you got 5 minutes with him, with Kohberger, what would you say or do?
I wouldn't talk at all. I'd just start tearing up.
Pounding on him?
Pounding. Yeah.
I get it.
Mm-hmm.
If that was my daughter, I'd do the same thing too.
Yeah, that guy has it coming. He's got it. And word is it's coming. Exactly. Yeah. It got to the moment of truth. They're going to kill you.
It's our life now. Our lives are changed.
That's one time I did go after Thompson really hard, where they were so warning me. I said, I'll tell you what, motherfucker. If I find out what he did and I find it in a book and he profits, I'm going to come find you.
Now I want to be clear right now. All right, so that's a little teaser of some clips that Steve Gonzalez talks about. The most shocking one is at the very beginning. Bryan Kohberger wanted to make an Alford plea, and we said we're not going to let that happen. What is an Alford plea? It means I didn't do it, but you're going to convict me of it anyways because I'm being fucked in the courtroom. You're going to convict me of something I didn't do, and so I'm going to plead guilty only because you are going to give me an unfair trial. That's what an Alford plea is, and he said it. Steve Gonzalez said it from the floor of CrimeCon. Bryan Kohberger wanted to do an Alford plea, which says, I didn't do this, but you're going to convict me anyways, and he also said Bryan Kohberger just didn't want to die, so he took the plea. I can't fucking agree with Steve Gonzalez anymore. Bryan Kohberger didn't want to die. He knew they were going to convict him anyways. They go, what do you got there, JJ? What's going on? It's hard to read that. Hold on. Hold on. Let me put this full screen. Is that a PSYOP picture? What is that? Yeah. Look.
It says PSYOP.
Yeah. It's troublesome to me. It's troublesome to me. And the video, I give a lot of opinions about what they actually said. It was stunning to me. Bryan Kohberger wanted to do an Alford plea, which says, I didn't do this, but you're going to convict me anyways. And they said, we're not going to allow that to happen. By the way, when the district attorney, was it Hewitt that was the district, when he came in, that was his purpose, was to come in and negotiate the plea deal. His coming into that was to negotiate the plea deal. And what basically the way I think it understand that happens is the families said, we'll accept the plea deal, but don't let him take an Alford plea. That's what he wanted to do. According to Steve's own words, he wanted to say, I didn't do this, but you're going to convict me of it anyways. And they said, nope, that's not going to work. You're either going to say you did it or you didn't do it. That's the only choice. And so Kohberger did say that he did it because he didn't want to die. That's from Steve Gonzalez's own mouth. So if you want to see my take on all that interview and the things that they said and the surprising, I believe, I hate saying it. I really do. And again, I'm going to let my panel talk, I swear. There was a performance on stage. Another teaser real quick is Christy Gonzalez. She brought tears to everyone's eyes because she could not say Bryan Kohberger's name on stage in front of thousands of people. She refused to say his name. And she even said, I can't say his name. I can't say it. I refuse to say it. On the video that I'm going to play for you, the first thing she does when she sees this reporter that has a YouTube channel is, hey, you cover the Kohberger case. No fucking problem saying Kohberger's name, which leads you to the question, was that a performance on the stage at CrimeCon in front of thousands of people. I can't say his name. You just said his name just fine on the impromptu interview at the expo hall. Hey, you're following the Koberger case. I can't say his name. I can't even say his name. Well, you just did though. So anyways, check it out if you want. It's $3. You can become a member. You can watch it preloaded if you want to, or you can wait till tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. All right, panelists, I'm going to let you talk.
I'll let Robin go first.
I want to know what he means by, you know, he would tear into him and it's coming. What does that mean? Is that just posturing? Does he have someone on the inside that's going to do something? Stranger things have happened. I mean, I understand it's probably posturing, but that's still dangerous language.
Robin, I think I don't have it. And if somebody can get it for me, I would love it, but I don't have it. I believe the Gonzalez's put on their Facebook page, justice will not be served until Brian Koberger breathes his last breath. They want him dead. They've said it multiple times. We want Brian Koberger dead, and this will not make us happy until he's dead. And then he said, the hit is on. Brian Koberger is going to be put in general pop soon, and he's going to get popped. And the only, you read between the lines. Sure, he didn't come out and say there's a hit on his life, but what he said was, we won't be satisfied until Brian Koberger breathes his last breath. And when he gets him general pop, it's coming. It's coming. So they're telling you he's going to be killed when he's in general pop, but they're being super careful about it. So we also have to be careful about it. I can't tell you he just said he's going to kill, because he's not going to kill him, but he's hinting that Brian Koberger is going to be killed very, very soon. And he said, it's coming very, very soon. He's going to be let out of general. He's going to be let out of general pop. And when he does, they're going to kill him. And that's going to be the justice when he's finally dead. And I pray to God for the family. They got it right. Because if they find out later on that he wasn't the right guy, how will they feel that they put a hit out on him essentially and encourage people to kill Brian Koberger when he wasn't the guy?
That's what I'm saying. And for someone who has had their child taken in the manner that they have, that this is not kosher, and this is dangerous. It really is. I mean, on one hand, I mean, there could be a humorous aspect that he's just posturing or whatever, but if something does happen to Brian, and I'm sorry, if they really objectively look at the especially since the autopsy reports came out, if they really objectively look at these reports and take everything into consideration, at the very least, somebody else besides Brian should be on the line. You know, so yeah. This is, and I'm very surprised that Scott from, I can't remember his channel. But anyway,
Scott Reich from Crime Talk.
Yeah,
Crime Talk. Yeah.
Crime Talk. Thank you. I'm very surprised he, as a defense attorney, was like, yeah.
I was stunned at the shit
thing.
I was stunned at the shit Scott Rice shed. It was fucking disgusting, in my opinion. Anyways, real quick, 2 quick comments, and then I want JJ to have a shot at. Lee and Robin, you're looking great, particularly sharp tonight and pulling a harsh. I think that's a harsh reality. You're looking marvelous tonight. You're looking marvelous. How do you do it? I don't know. I can't fucking do the UK fucking accent, but I love that shit. Thank you very much. And one more thing, by the way, they want an innocent man in prison and the real perps to run free. Here's the irony. Here is the irony. Christy Gonzalez literally says in the interview, I got a clip of it in the interview that I'm playing for you tomorrow. We don't want somebody to be walking free. If somebody did this, they said 2 things. We don't want an innocent man to go to jail. If somebody killed my daughter, I want to know who killed my daughter, and I don't want them walking free. Well, that's great. It means one of 2 things. You either 100% believe, and I think that's a possibility, that you 100% believe Koberger did it, and you no longer have any questions whatsoever that anybody else was involved. I think that's naive, but if that's what you believe, then okay. But I fear that they know that other people were involved, and then it's doublespeak. We don't want anybody to walk free. But I think you know other people were involved, and you are letting them walk free if you don't continue to ask questions like, and by the way, this was what I pointed in Harsh Realities video. Hey, are you guys going to use the money that you're raising for this new foundation you formed for Kaylee Gonzalez to test the hair in Ethan Chapin's hands? And the response was, fuck off. That was their response. Fuck off. Really? Because if you don't want fucking guilty people walking free, why wouldn't you want to know whose fucking hair is in the hand of Ethan Chapin? Why is the answer fuck off?
That's right.
I need to let you guys talk.
No, go ahead, JJ.
Well, I mean, my feelings, I won't get into some theories that I have about them right now for sure, but I will say I don't trust them, and I don't respect anybody that thinks they have the right to censor people, and by the legislation they're pushing for, and what,
Yep.
you know, that is a violation of the First Amendment. Number one. Number two, I could go into a lot of reasons why I don't trust them, but the way that they behave, their performative nature, they're seeking the spotlight constantly. Anybody who's got their eyes open, who knows how to connect a few dots, would be suspicious of them. And I think that there's something much bigger going on with this case, as I've said all along. And quite honestly, everything that's happened up until this point has reinforced what I believe. I have not seen a single thing that has moved me away from my overarching theory about this case. And in fact, I'm starting to think it's even more nefarious than I thought before. And this is why I get frustrated, like looking at documents and things like that. I used to do that too. I used to follow on the message boards, documents were posted, and I would, oh, look, new documents. But now so many things have been horseshit with this case. Many things. We all agree on that part. We all agree on. So when you get
Yep.
to this far out from the case, in my opinion, can you trust anything? Because if they'll lie about this, I'm going to quote Candace Owens on this one, whether you like her or not. Why are they lying about things they don't even have to lie about?
Right.
So when you start seeing lies about literally everything along the way, and you see these, and you know, to quote the custody queens in their recent interview at Holland, Ron said it seemed like all the interviews were very perfunctory, just to get them done. And I've been saying that all along. It's like they went through the motions because this is what we have to do. And with all of those things together, I think that there is something much bigger going on with this case. Now, I'm not going to go as far as saying that it was an extraction operation and nobody died or anything like that, because that would require a lot of more substantive evidence, right? For me to like go that far. But I will say that I am more confident than ever that there was a major operation involved, and that what we are seeing now is people that were co-opted, people close to the crimes, by powerful entities to be used, right? Because who can't be questioned? The parents of victims, right? So if you were a larger organization or institution that had larger agendas you wanted to forward, what you would do is you would co-opt people to get a message across that the public's not allowed to question. And so I am very confident in that now. If I had more time, and I'll leave it at this. If I had more time and didn't have a full-time job and everything, and I had a little extra money to burn, I would hire some researchers to start researching other things, not the documents, not what we've been told, all these different things. I would hire researchers, actual researchers, to pull on threads that I think are significant. But I don't have that right now. Like if I was a full-time streamer and I didn't have a full-time job and I had more time, I would be able to do more. So it's hard for me. I can't really put up, you know, I can't walk the walk, so to speak. But because there are things going on with this case that I think need to be dug into more. And unfortunately, and I totally understand, I totally get it why people are interested in the documents and all that stuff, because I am too, you know.
Yeah.
I read through the autopsy stuff, and I've done as much research as I physically can with the time that I have. So I totally get that. And you need to know what they're putting out. But I think, and I hope at some point we can sort of pool our resources and we can start digging into some other aspects, because there's something much bigger going on. I'm sorry, that was a long-winded.
Oh, now that's all right.
response.
It's a good night for. I do want to. I had this pinned up here forever, so I appreciate it. But Mark and Betty, yes, you didn't imagine. I don't know if Steve Gonzalez said it, but yeah, Brian Kohberger was being looked at for a murder. I oppose unaliving for a murder in Pennsylvania. However, it was one of those retroactive things. After he was discovered for this, they were looking into a cold case in Pennsylvania to see if he could possibly be related into that, and there was questions about that. So that is true. That they're basically re-looked at Kohberger, from what I understand, re-looked at Kohberger for a Pennsylvania murder that happened before the Idaho 4 murders, because after the Idaho 4 murders and after he was identified as the killer, they were like, well, what if he was involved in this other murder in Pennsylvania, a cold case that happened before the Idaho 4 murders? So I don't think you're imagining it. I think that is out there in the ether. And it sounds really bad at first blush, right? You look at it and you're like, oh my God, Brian Kohberger was investigated for a prior murder? Well, yes and no, a prior murder, but he didn't come on the radar until after the murders in Idaho. And they're like, well, what if he also did this one? It was one of those kind of retroactive things. So it looks bad until you understand the context. It was after, I believe it was after he was identified in the Idaho 4 murders that they went back and looked at, well, did he do any other murders somewhere else? How about this cold case in Idaho? Could it have been him? And it was determined no connection. But you know what? It's stuck in people's craw. Oh, did you realize he was investigated in a murder in Pennsylvania? Yes. After they thought he was a murderer in Idaho, they started to see if they could find it. That look, because a lot of people thought this can't be his first rodeo. He has to have done this before. So where's the history of his crimes before? So they were looking, does Kohberger have a history? So they were retroactively, I believe, looking for other murders that he could have committed. And it turned out, no, they couldn't connect him to that crime at all. And I don't believe that he was connected.
Well, they would obviously, if they had that in their pocket, if they had any evidence connecting him to other crimes, that it would have been all over the news, nonstop, right? Because because that would be logical with the type of crimes that happened in Idaho, right? Somebody that's got a history of, then the serial killer narrative would be able to be pushed, which the media loves. The school doesn't love that. Moscow wouldn't love that, but the media would be all over that if they could connect him to previous crimes. So they didn't. And in my opinion, a lot of that is theater. And again, why can't we see his arrest? Why can't we see his interview?
Right.
Why did they tear the house down? Why
were
we lied to about everything? Why was the PCA a joke? Why were the surviving roommates not pushed? Why were they told right out of the gate, you're not a suspect? This is theater, in my opinion. And how much theater do you have to see before you realize it's theater? You're right. I know it's kind of a crazy thing to think about, because operations are not an easy thing to sort of swallow, that this shit happens, but it happens. And there's undeniable massive amounts of evidence about operations that the power structure has carried out, and there have been many whistleblowers about those operations.
So real quick, it's funny you pinned that. I was going to say, I wanted to get the previous comment and then I wanted to get to this one. Sorry, JJ. I'm trying to keep up on chats too. I was going to comment on the previous comment about, so go ahead and leave this one on screen. The previous comment was, I thought the Gonzaleses were smarter than they were. I have to say this. I feel like out of all the people who are critical of the Idaho 4 case, I feel like I've been one of the most supportive of Steve Gonzalez. I've said the following, and I'm going to say it again. I feel like I relate to Steve Gonzalez. I can see myself acting like him. He's angry and he just wants answers. He hired his own private investigator. He's hired his own lawyer. Some of the things that he does and says, I can see myself doing and saying. So I've always been like, look, I realize people fucking don't like Steve Gonzalez and the show that he puts on, and he's always changing his mind. But if anybody, I actually kind of sympathize with the guy. I see myself in him. However, as people are saying, I thought they were smarter than this. And the more I listen to them talk, I'm thinking maybe they're not as smart as I gave them credit for, because it just seems like they're saying really fucking stupid, ignorant shit. And I don't know if I really don't know if it's an ignorance issue or if it's something else. And by something else, I mean, when you get money involved and you're going to be on the board of directors for a foundation that's collecting a huge amount of money. Does that mean it's not a matter of you being dumb? It's a matter of you doing what's in your best financial interest. And I hate to say that because I've always felt I'm sympathetic to the Gonzalez family. I feel for them, but I'm starting to feel less and less sympathy because they're acting like this is a performance. Like, I'm not sure if I buy the honesty anymore. It feels like a performance, and I hate it. I hate it because I've always been really kind of on their side a little bit, despite the fact that I question them. And real quick, Rev Gang family, I don't know what channel you have, but you said you hope that we can collaborate in the future. I love collaboration. So as the famous, there's a major philosopher I love. His name is Vanilla Ice. Stop, collaborate, and listen. I would love to collaborate with more people. So if you're out there and you want to collaborate, please reach out to me. We will stop, collaborate, and listen. Anyway, so sorry about that. Let me turn it over to you guys.
All right. Vanilla Ice quotes. We're really going out there tonight.
There you go.
Look, you know what? I have my feelings are what they are, and I understand the dynamics of what happened. We all do, but I think they're grifters. I'm sorry. I think they got co-opted, and now what they're doing is performative because there's a financial stake. And if you don't,
have to ask that. You have to ask
that.
if they've gotten tainted by money.
Well, I think they've gotten both tainted by money, but I think the bigger question is what other, besides the lawsuit, what other sources have been pivotal in the way that they behave? And I think there's something else going on here, and I can't prove it. It's just my theory based on, I use my instincts and I connect dots, and the performative nature and the way they behave to me. And I'm sorry if they don't want to be criticized, then stop doing what you're doing. But I think I think they're toxic people. And you know what? If I was at CrimeCon and I had a chance to ask a question, the question that I had in my mind that I would ask is, you were screaming about your free speech early on in this case, and now you are advocating to the point of getting legislation passed to violate the First Amendment and freedom of the press. So I have no respect for anybody that does that. And in fact, I'm disgusted with people that think they have the right to censor people, to take away people's rights. To me, there's nothing more disgusting than that.
Yeah, and I want to comment about Panda Hug's comment. The normal way to act would be like Xana's family. We never hear from them, but other folk out there are wanting gifts and money. This is the thing I want to say. You know what you don't find? I feel like you don't find this channel and our panel attacking all the other families. If there's anybody that's coming under criticism, it's the Gonzalez family. Why? Because they're being extremely vocal and shitting all over YouTubers, telling us that we should be ashamed of ourselves and we can't read legal documents. We don't understand basic facts. We're idiots. We're morons. They're inviting the attack back. For those who think we're victim shaming, guess what? We don't fucking say shit about the other families because they don't want to be talked about. But this family is inviting attacks because they're attacking us. You're all a bunch of idiots. You're morons. You can't understand shit. We're like, okay, fucking game on then.
I can look
if you want to challenge me, we'll go at it. But I'm leaving the other families alone because they fucking being quiet. They're fucking trying to respect their privacy. We do want to know the truth, so we talk about it from time to time, but we certainly don't question the motives of the other families. We question the motives of who? The families that go connect with Othram and do tours on Othram Labs and how you got to give them money, and a family that goes publicly all the time shitting on everyone who questions the official narrative. So that's it.
Right. And here's the thing. If I don't know how to read a document, well, I can look at those autopsy documents that just came out, and I have lots of questions now about how many weapons there were. So let's sit down together and read those freaking documents, because after reading those documents, there is no question in my mind whatsoever that Brian Kohberger is not able to have done what was done.
Let me tell you, by the way, Robin, I want to tell you, I agree. The autopsy thing was a fucking bombshell. And by the way, Christy, I'm just getting fucking started. Christy Gonzalez on the interview with the Crime Talk show said, we didn't know the extent of Kaylee Gonzalez's injuries until 2 days before sentencing. She said they didn't know how many times she was stabbed in the face. They didn't know about they didn't know the details. And I'm shocked because Steve Gonzalez was making whirlwind tours talking about he broke my daughter's nose. He did all these things. He was saying that for a long time. And yet Christy said, we didn't even know that he had busted out her teeth, that he had done things like that. How do these two things reconcile? You're telling us you didn't know what happened to Kaylee until 2 days before sentencing, but your husband is going on TV telling everybody what happened to Kaylee and how her wounds were much worse than everybody else. And they kind of talked about it a little bit. Well, we they didn't see the autopsy report. They saw the death certificate. So they knew certain basic details. But he was running his mouth about a lot of stuff that they said they didn't hear about until days before. So I have questions, like you said, about the everything. Everything about this is being reopened because it doesn't make sense what they're saying.
No, it does not make sense whatsoever. And so as far as I'm able to take and look at these legal documents, I'm intelligent enough to look at them and, understand the fact. And let me tell you, if this was my kid, I don't give a shit. I would have gone to the end of the earth to find out who did it, each and every freaking person I possibly could, and hold their feet to the fire. And I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel.
I know JJ has a comment. I can hear it in his voice, but I want to make one more point. I've said this over and over again, and I want to say it one more time. I believe, based on things that Steve Gonzalez has said, and it's a personal feeling, I believe Steve Gonzalez knows, or at least strongly believes, that other people were involved in this murder. I think he was told by handlers, meaning people in law enforcement, be the FBI or law enforcement with Moscow Police, or even the prosecutor. I think the prosecutor, Bill Thompson, made promises to Steve Gonzalez. Is why he's so pissed at fucking Bill Thompson. Steve Gonzalez is livid at Bill Thompson because I think Bill Thompson broke a promise to Steve, which is that we're going to get them all. I honestly believe that Steve Gonzalez believes there was other people involved, and he was told, shut your mouth. We're going to get them all. We're going to go to trial and we're going to get them all. This is just the tip of the iceberg. And then the plea deal shocked everyone. No one was told about the plea deal. And Steve was fucking hot. And one of the things that he said was, if you're going to fucking do this plea deal, then make him say he did it by himself. That's a key thing to me. He said, make him say he did it by himself. And why? Because Steve Gonzalez didn't want to spend the rest of his life trying to bring the others to justice. So if you're going to say it's one guy, when I know damn well it's not one guy, then make him say it was one guy so we can put this to bed and move on with our lives, and we can form a foundation to go after stopping the one guy. I don't know that I believe that Steve Gonzalez thinks Brian Kohberger did it alone. I don't think he did. I think he believes there was others. And he's pissed because they took a plea deal. And he said, fuck you. If you're going to take a plea deal, then make him say he did it by himself so we don't have to fight this for the rest of our life trying to look for the other killers. But then you have the people saying, well, we don't want people who did this to walk free. I don't know what to feel about it. I just don't know what to feel about it. What do you think?
I was letting JJ go.
Well, I just think that people aren't dumb. People have instincts. Right. It's like, this is one of the reasons why I don't watch the mainstream media, because they talk as if people are morons. Like, people can read other people. It's something we have in our DNA. It's a survival mechanism. Yeah. Right. So, but society has beaten it out of us to not trust our instincts. When, look, I say it a lot, and I could sense fuckery. I'm very good at, and it probably has something to do with my background, where I come from, and things I've been around, and all that kind of things. You use pattern recognition, but I've sensed that there's major fuckery in this case for a long time, and the way they're behaving, and just like to your point, Da, you shouldn't have this much apparent, or at least what appears to be, collusion happening between different parties, and then Ann Taylor doesn't test the hair in Ethan Chapin's hand, and it doesn't even really come up until Wickham's book in a significant way, and then with Turvey's interview. So these things seem like, to me, indicative of there being a lot of collusion between people who shouldn't be colluding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I just feel like there's no other explanation to me other than there were bigger things happening. And in order to push those bigger things forward, they needed to co-opt people. And money is a very enticing
money
thing.
is powerful. As somebody just recently said, who was it? Somebody just recently said, and you know who they're talking about, and I don't have to say who they're talking about. They said, I think something changed, and some people no longer want the truth. They've been tainted by money. And I think that's exactly the truth. Some people have stopped caring about knowing what really happened or getting the truth about what happened out, because they've decided, fuck it. We're gonna go for the money angle. We're trying to make the fucking best of a bad situation. Really quick, Ipati, and I'm gonna basically comment on Ipati, and then I'm gonna step away for just a second to go potty. But Ipati, I love Ipati, by the way. He's fucking pretty cool. Ipati had they had access to Kaylee's phone. A crazy moment. I think I've said this before. A crazy moment at CrimeCon. It's not public. It's not out there in the public, because you're not supposed to record CrimeCon's videos in there. But a crazy moment happened when Christy Gonzalez was telling everyone on stage that they are trying to break in. Law enforcement is trying to break into Kaylee's phone. They still have not had access to Kaylee's phone. And she said, we don't know when it's going to happen. It could be 18 minutes or it could be 18 years. They're trying to brute force attack Kaylee's phone to get into it. And Steve said, we're trying to do everything we can to stop it. Don't get into our daughter's phone. We do not want you to get into our daughter's phone. The reason being, of course, you might say, is they don't want the whole world making her phone be the public records request target of what was Kaylee doing, who was she flirting with, what sexting thing. Like, he doesn't want all of her dirty little details coming out. I get that. But he said was, look, we don't want law enforcement to break into her phone. Stop it. But yet, when Steve Gonzalez was asked if the true crime community had any positive influence whatsoever, he said, yeah, they helped us figure out the timeline. And he said, for example, when we were looking at Kaylee's phone, we found out that this happened and this happened. And immediately Christy jumped all over him and said, we weren't in Kaylee's phone. Let me be clear about that. We weren't in Kaylee's phone. And you're like, well, wait the fuck a minute. Just a minute ago, you're saying that that they're trying to get into Kaylee's phone, but then Steve says we were in Kaylee's phone and we helped correct the timeline and the crime using Kaylee's phone. Now, Christy tried to backpedal and said, well, hey, look, Kaylee's phone is on our family plan, so therefore we had access to certain details, and so whatever. But the point being is that Christy immediately jumped all over Steve, who said we were using Kaylee's phone to correct the timeline. How crazy is that? Was the family in Kaylee's phone or not?
Yeah.
Oh, I believe they were definitely in her phone, and maybe they're the ones that locked it and then told, law enforcement, hey, we can't get in this. And so they have it. And that it's taking this long to get in a freaking iPhone. I don't believe that for one damn second. Not one damn second.
Yeah. And I also think it's very possible that there was some tension that was significant between them, and they didn't want that to come out, right?
Right.
And we don't know, obviously, any of that. There's speculation, but we don't know. And if in fact they were able to get welcome aboard, if they were
Thank you.
able to get information that was on Kaylee's phone that would have not looked so good. I mean, seems pretty likely to me.
Yeah, yeah. And this is where it boils down to when it's the whole adage about, the more lies you tell, the more you have to keep telling. And that's what it is. And I'm starting to feel like they really are not on the same page together in a lot of instances, because not only has Steve said stuff that was, that he has put his foot in his mouth, but also so has Christy. So, what? Oh, man.
I know. I know.
Yeah, and
This-
it's like, why would the biggest thing that I always keep going back to is, how could somebody that was literally ranting in the early stages that they were being silenced?
Right.
I mean, we all saw it, right? Very vocal about it. Be the one that's turning around trying to silence other people, and not just trying to silence other people, literally supporting legislation to violate freedom of the press.
Yeah.
And the First Amendment. To me, that in and of itself should be indicative of something changing very dramatically, and what makes people change their tune.
Real quick, I want to comment this user. I'm going to make a plug for Apple, and I'm not an Apple user. I don't have an iPhone. I don't have any Mac in my house, but I'm going to say this. I am a privacy buff. I believe in people's right to privacy. And I will tell you this, Apple has a history of giving the middle finger to law enforcement when law enforcement wants into their phones. They say, we don't fucking do that. Even under a fucking court order and police asking for them, Apple traditionally, at least publicly, have stated, fuck you, we're not giving you backdoor access to our phones. So while I don't have an Apple myself, for those of you who are Apple lovers, that's one thing I've always admired Apple for, is Apple is not going to bend over and backdoor their phones for law enforcement. And I think it's a good thing. I think companies should stop bending over backwards and just giving all their data to the police when they ask for it, because they believe in their customers' right to privacy, even in extreme situations. So anyways, I just wanted to give that plug real quick.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't trust any of these corporations that,
Right.
what they say, because what these corporations say publicly and what they do privately are usually very different things.
Right.
And I just don't trust any of them. And I highly recommend people check out Tim Dillon. Tim Dillon is a national treasure if you haven't watched his content. Yeah. And I've never seen, the only person in my whole life I've ever seen who rants better or equal to Tim Dillon was George Carlin. That's
Carlin, man. Yeah.
That's the only person. Tim Dillon's rants, of which there are many you can find online, but he talked about, he did a CNN interview, and it was the most unintended comedy special that you've ever seen in your life, because he was like schooling this CNN interviewer, and they asked him about the big tech people, because Tim Dillon's got a pretty big podcast, and he had some of the tech people on, and he had JD Vance on, and so on, and they were asked him about that, and he's like, I don't trust any of them. He's like, I don't trust them. He's like, 1 minute they're Democrat, then they're Republican, then they're this, and they're that. And I echo the sentiments of Tim Dillon. I do not trust any of the big tech people as far as I can throw them, because they all did it. They all flip-flopped when Trump got into office, and they were all vehemently opposed to him. And because they saw business opportunities, they all jumped on board.
Real quick, but it's funny. I maybe in the cups a little bit, but it was funny that you said vehemently, because I pronounced vehemently, and someone said there's no H in vehemently. Actually, the word has an H in it, but apparently you're supposed to pronounce it vehemently without the H, right?
Yes,
Fucking American
silent.
language. Anyways, the irony is they literally wrote to me, there's no H in vehemently as they type the H. But what they meant was you don't pronounce the H. So when you said vehemently, I'm like, oh, it's not vehemently, it's vehemently. Anyways, shit. I digress. That's what I do a lot. Real quick, I'm going to go grab a refill on my drink, but I got to ask, if you want to come on stage, great night to do so. We put the link. I just put the link up again. Maybe Robin can put it up a third time or third time. I just put it up once, so that would be a second time. Anyways, second time. If you want to join us on stage, might be a good time to do so. Fuck, I can't count. Anyways, if you want to join us on stage, great night to do so. I'll be right back. You guys carry it with.
Oh shit. Somebody in the chat was saying that the G's seemed to change right around the time Steve said somebody had gone to their house essentially and threatened them about, don't contact. Because as you remember in the beginning, Steve wanted to contact Dylan and Bethany, and then he was warned away from that. So is that around the time that he started to change? But see, that wouldn't bother me. Like I'd be like, I don't give a shit what you say. I am going to find out what the deal is here. And I don't need money that bad. I will never sell my soul for money. So, yeah, so that's just how I feel about that. So I'm going to throw the link out here, guys.
Yeah. I mean, I've had scenarios in my life where I stood firm on my my integrity and things like that. But I don't know. I've never been offered like super large sums of money to do anything, right? I'd like to think that I would not compromise. And I have stood up to things that were threatening to me, my livelihood and things like that. But, when I've never been approached and offered massive amounts of money or threatened in a really serious way. I've been threatened, sort of a veiled threat sort of thing that could potentially put my job at risk or things like that. But a lot of times, people can be manipulated and they can be bought. I mean, it's just a reality.
Yeah.
Look at how many politicians sell out. I mean, there's very few politicians that I could name that have integrity. They all sell out.
Let me ask you this question, guys. I mean, part of me, okay, let me ask you this question. I'm just gonna try to be as fair as I possibly can with the Gonzaleses. Let's say that the logic is this: nothing is going to bring your daughter back, right? Yeah. And so because nothing's going to bring your daughter back, maybe make the best out of the situation that you possibly can. So did they at some point decide, okay, look, we know more than one person probably was involved in this crime and we probably don't have the right answers, but we're never going to get the answers. And so therefore we need to make the best of the situation we can. And so they go balls deep into forming a foundation and raising money to catch other bad guys, knowing that they're not going to get justice in their own case. So do you justify that? Do you justify them giving up on getting the answers for their own family because nothing's going to bring their daughter back? Yeah. So you might as well make the best of a situation, raise a bunch of money, live the best life that you possibly can, because make a mountain out of a molehill kind of thing. Like, I mean, it's like, no, I don't know.
I don't buy that. No? You know why? Because if I got people on board like Courtroom and this other lab and had money donating people to my foundation hand over fist, I would goddamn well test that hair.
Yeah.
And there's nothing.
How do they not want to test the hair?
Now. I keep coming back to that because if you wanted to find the answers, if you're Steve Gonzalez and you really got it out for Bill Thompson, you'll find any goddamn way you can to put his ass to the screws. And to me, if I had the backing, I'd test that goddamn hair. That's exactly what I would do.
I want to ask a question before JJ goes. Hopefully, JJ, you'll hold on to your point. This is the problem I have. I feel like testing of the hair doesn't hurt the family at all. Why not test the hair?
No.
Why not test the hair in his hand? What does it harm? I'll tell you what it harms. In my opinion, what it harms is your lawsuit against WSU. Because your lawsuit against WSU is predicated on the idea that only one man did it and you could have stopped that man. So if there was more than one man involved, all of a sudden your lawsuit is in jeopardy because it wasn't just one man. And so you have to ask yourself, did they start to no longer give a fuck about finding out about possible other perpetrators because it would hurt the lawsuit against WSU? I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's obviously something we've all talked about, and that would certainly be an obvious motivation for people to change their tune, right? And see, in my opinion, somebody in there, what are they in their 40s? The Gonzalez's, like mid to late probably. 40s, right? I'm guessing.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Right. Generally speaking, somebody isn't like a sort of or civil libertarian, or at least based on what I've heard, and in their 40s completely do a 180 and then start pushing, because it's one thing to change your beliefs for yourself, right? But to try to do something that impacts many thousands of people by pushing for legislation that's going to violate people's civil liberties and their constitutional rights, which is what it is. And again, I'm sorry I get really fired up when I talk about this kind of stuff, in case people haven't noticed, but I say it all the time. Don't just look at the crime itself. Look at what happens as a result of the crime. I've said it probably 100 times on this channel. I've said it to everybody that I would listen to me. Watch down the road. It's usually happens a little bit down the road. Watch what happens as a result of one of these high profile events. And one of the
real quick, JJ, before I want to make sure we acknowledge we have somebody queued up backstage. I want to let them know we see you. We'll get to you in just a second. So go ahead, JJ.
Yeah, well, the reason I always stress this is because if you want an indication if there's larger things involved with a crime, now people say never let a good crisis go to waste. I get it. I understand that. It's a valid statement. However, if you pay attention to history, you also have to look at how crises are created to forward certain agendas, or to, at the very least, taken advantage of and whatever. But whenever I see legislation that violates people's rights being introduced off the back of a high-profile event, I'm very suspicious. Right, because someone that's all conservative and civil libertarian and free speech and gun rights and all this is now, his whole family is pushing to violate people's constitutional rights. It makes me suspicious.
Yeah, there's been a change. There's been a change, and like Philly Special says, and I'm going to bring our guest up next. Like Philly Special says, I think it would hurt them because in the beginning, Steve acted like a father in rage. And this is why I said I identified with, I'm not a father, but I identified with Steve because I could put myself at least somehow in his shoes and go, you know what? If I were him, I'd be doing the same thing. Fuck you guys. I'm not going to sit around doing nothing, sitting on my fucking thumb while you tell me what happened to my daughter. I'm going to find out myself. I don't think you're doing a good job in this investigation. I think you're dropping the ball. I'm going to hire a private investigator and I'm going to get the goddamn answers. And I think that's what Steve did in the beginning. I really think he did. That's what I saw in Steve, an angry father who said, fuck you guys. I'm going to find out what happened to my daughter. And then something changed. Something changed. Somebody got to him and convinced him to shut the fuck up, or money became an issue. And they're like, hey, look, if you get this lawsuit, you can make something good out of a bad situation. You're never going to get the answers, but you can make something good out of a bad situation. And that's what I feel like happened with Steve Gonzalez. He went from the angry father to the, well, look, You're never going to get justice. So you might as well go for the next best thing. Make the best that you can for the family that has survived, your wife and your children. Do the best that you can. Make a lot of money, whatever you need to do. You're not going to get justice in this case. So make the best of it you can. I feel like that's what happened. He went from an angry father to I'm going to do the best with the bad fucking situation. So thank you for doing that. And hopefully
What's up, Philly? DA,
on
let me ask you this, DA. Do you think that in this particular case that it's possible that some other entities on maybe an institutional level got to them and were instrumental in them changing their tune and being the way they're being?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't know if you mean exactly this, but I think that it's very easy for someone to say, trust us, you need to shut your mouth. We've got this. You're going to be taken care of. If you just stay out of the way, we'll take care of this. And at some point, I think that's when Steve got furious about the plea deal, because they were told certain things were going to happen. This is going to go to trial. We're going to bring everybody to justice. We're going to get it all. And then they changed their mind. And he's like, I shut up for you guys, and you just fucked me. Like, I did what you told me to do. And I feel like that explains a lot. All right, we need to get Ajira.
Well, let me just follow up.
We'll find out shortly.
Quick, because this is important. But what I'm asking is, do you think it's possible? I said an instance. I'm not talking about like the prosecution and him having a beef with them. Okay. I'm saying they're literally starting a DNA database type of thing. They're doing things, passing legislation to violate the First Amendment. Do you think that powerful entities that would have a vested interest in both of those things approach them?
Yes, I think so. I think the push to Othram Labs, the push to IGG funding, the push to making this the new standard of catching criminals, got to the family. I think that's very possible, if that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah, no, I think that's very possible. All right, let's bring our guest up before we lose our guest backstage. Again, I don't know if it's Ajira or if this J is silent. That is Hira. Let's see how you doing. How you doing? Are you there?
Hi, guys. Yeah. No, you have it right. Ajira.
Ajira? Okay.
Well, how you doing?
Yeah. Hey, good. Well, I wanted to touch on two things, the hair and the IGG thing and the Gonzalez's. Well, I guess maybe three.
All right.
Yes, this is absolutely a psyop push for IGG, which is terrifying because IGG is bullshit. I mean,
yeah,
it really is. It's not allowed in court for a reason. And they, wasn't it those Israeli scientists that like 10 years ago created someone's DNA like super easily? And they're like, you don't need, like, DNA is so manipulatable that it's not the slam dunk everyone's been led to believe. And this is like moving us towards, I mean, it could move us into a very scary place, which we already are in a scary place. But that's my thought on that.
Right.
But the Gonzalez's, I mean, I feel pretty confident that the rumors about Kaylee's relationship with them wasn't great. And I mean, Steve is a white supremacist. So I feel like he's got a lot more connection to people that were involved in things or could be involved in things or might be responsible for the death of these kids. Then we know, it just, there's so much suspicion there. And the way that he treats his other daughter that he doesn't claim in California, like this whole, it's like a charade. It feels disingenuous and yucky. And I don't know if they necessarily got approached by someone with IGG. If anyone, I think it was probably the FBI. And the FBI has given me some serious red flags because the recent, whistleblowers, if you want to call them, with the book and, all the interviews with the queens, they're all connected to the FBI. And
Worse than
then the
that.
FBI is the one that did the testing on the hair. They're the ones that ran the hair. So they have custody and
Yeah.
control of the hair. And
Right.
all they did
Yeah.
was confirm it wasn't a match to Brian Koberger, but why didn't they run an IgG on that motherfucker? Like, come on.
Right. Right. Because that
And
hair
I
follicle.
think that's why
and
it hasn't been further tested, because once the FBI has something in their control, no one else can get it from them. Like, they do not like to
well,
share.
I want to clarify something about that. I think what people missed,
So,
a lot of people
that's
missed,
my thought on that.
is Turvey made it clear
Oh,
the hair still
did I lose you
exists
guys?
outside. Yeah, I think you did. Because can you hear me, Robin and JJ?
I can hear you.
Yeah.
And Azira,
Okay.
stay put
So, yeah,
after. I wanted to bring something up too.
I'll go out and I'll come back
I hope,
in.
yeah. Sounds like she's got some audio problems. So let me clarify. I believe. So she made a comment. Look, the FBI is in custody of Ethan, the hair that was in Ethan's hand. Not entirely true, from what I understand.
No.
Brent Turvey discovered that hair was still glued to the bed frame in the holding of Moscow Police Department, which is why he was saying, look, you don't have to go to the FBI to get the hair back. The hair is still stuck on the fucking bed frame. Like, that's the hair. You literally can get the hair.
Right.
That was the point. So yeah, you're right. There was a part that said, well, the FBI has custody of the hair in Ethan's hand, but that same hair, same color, same type of hair is still glued to the bed frame in Moscow Police Department's thing. So you don't need to go to the FBI. You don't need the FBI to release the hair. You can go to the bed frame and say, let's test that fucking hair that's in the bed frame right there. And then if you want to, if they want to challenge it, then fine. Then prove to me the hair that I just tested on the bed frame isn't the same hair you have in Ethan's hand that the FBI has, because it's the same hair. You know it is. So I think, to clarify, they could have avoided going after the FBI to try to get the hair back because the hair was on the bed frame.
Right.
Yeah, well,
I put the link out there for you, Azira.
There's one thing I want to comment on, something that Azira said. People have been speaking a lot about, Chris Wickham and Holland. Well, I'm going to focus on Wickham first, about the FBI. He was in the FBI. More recently, these were his words. He talked about it on multiple podcasts. He was a special agent for the FBI, but more after that, he was a CIA contractor. His words. He said it on here. He said it on the Custody Queens. I think he may have even said it on Birdie's show as well. Holland, who was just interviewed by the Custody Queens, he said he was a contractor overseas. Who does a lot of the contracting, right? Basically, generally speaking, it's one of two things. It's either the CIA or it's corporate security, right? So we have two people who have come into the mix in this case, and everybody talks about the FBI, which I agree with Azira. I don't trust them. There's a lot of red flags with the FBI, long history of red flags, many, 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 many examples. But the CIA is a big, big, big picture organization. And if you do the deep dives and you do the research that I've done about the CIA, one of the main components of what they have always done is corporate. They forward elite business interests around the world. And I promise you, if you research it, you'll come to the same conclusion. So when you have two people, well, for sure one, because they said it with their own words, that was a CIA contractor. What do people think the CIA does? Right? So you have this high profile case, and all of a sudden two people that were quote unquote contractors are now giving their take on the case. And let's all be honest, there was a lot of prevarication that was going on in those interviews where they steered away from certain narratives and they shut down other inquiries, right? Clearly. I mean, it was done on basically every show. Then there was Holland, from what I understand, he literally contradicted himself. 1 minute he was talking about post-mortem wounds, and then he was asked two times about the quote-unquote post-mortem, and the other time he said no, they weren't post-mortem. So whenever I see people, I pay attention to what people say and how they say it. So that I just wanted to address that.
Yeah, because words matter. Like I'm always saying, words matter, and how you use those words matter. And so, but this is why I don't really care who you are. We have the right to question you when we see that you are steering conversations away from certain areas, when you are contradicting yourself. I mean, this is
Well,
where I hope
sorry, Robin.
and pray. No, that's okay. These people finally start to understand that many of us who are on these channels are not stupid. We are not. And just because we have questions doesn't mean those questions are not valid and that we don't have the right to ask those questions.
But notice how none of them will answer the question, because I feel like we all are talking about the very bizarre thing with these guys. All three of them are trying to push this idea that Xana was in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And she wasn't in the kitchen. There's none of the evidence points to it. And Wickham was like, oh, we know she was in the kitchen because she was on TikTok and got her food. And then he fucked up and thought it was her blood on the ping pong table. And it's like, no, that's not right. So there's that. And then we've got Turvey. Oh, I don't want to talk about the ping pong table. That's not interesting to me. Yet he's saying Xana was in the kitchen. And there's no evidence of that. And then this last guy, oh, the Bluetooth speaker. She was watching TikTok through a Bluetooth speaker. Give me a fucking break. That is not a thing. Unless you're in the shower. Like, no one goes in the kitchen and listens to their TikTok reels because you have to swipe every reel. Otherwise, they'll just play the same one over and over and over. The Bluetooth speaker, if anything, would have been connected to Kaylee's phone if she's listening to music. Not Xana's TikTok account.
Right.
That's garbage. And why are all three of them pushing that?
Yeah.
That's look, you make a great I like Christopher Wickham. I've had many talks with Christopher Wickham.
And there's
having some issues on the audio.
No, I think we're good. Are we good?
Hopefully. Yeah, I just want to make sure. So anyways, I was trying to make a point that it bothers me that Christopher Wickham and everybody seems to be like you said, sticking to certain parts of the narrative that we still question, and they don't even want to talk about it. And
we don't even question it. It's a fact. The evidence dictates it. So they're misstating facts of the case, and it's bizarre because they're all doing the exact same thing on the exact same point.
It is bizarre. I think it's a key to the case. For some reason, they want us to go ahead and question the single perpetrator, concept, but they don't want us to shift the timeline. They don't want us to shift the timeline.
Like Turvey,
they're adamant that it happened between 4 and 4:20 in the morning, but they're sticking by it wasn't one guy, but they don't want anybody looking at any other time frame than the actual time frame that they say it happened in, and that bothers me because there's plenty of reason to question the timeline, plenty.
Oh, completely.
And I don't know why they're all doubling down on the timeline.
The fact that they would think any of us buy it is the weird thing. It's like we all know that's not true. So why do you keep trying to fit the square peg in a round hole? You sound like an idiot, and then you discredit the argument. And it's really frustrating when they do that, because it's like, okay, so you're going to not be accurate on the evidence that's plain and simple in the reports that everyone can read for themselves, and now you look like an idiot. So if you can't,
I almost excused it in Brent Turvey's place only for this reason. I don't know if you're going to follow the logic. Brent Turvey said the timeline is irrelevant.
Right, because
And
I'm a
for us, it's not
scientist
irrelevant.
and
It's
blah blah
everything.
blah.
Right, because all he was brought on to do was there evidence of staging. That's all. He's not as interested in the timeline.
But if that was true,
well, I could get it.
If that was true, why would he, after doing his whole analysis a year before the plea deal, then give all of the discovery he has to new guy, I can't remember his name, the most recent interview, and say, hey,
Holland?
Yeah, poke holes
Yeah.
in my theory for me. Like, why would he feel the need to get a second set of eyes? I get for, like, making sure that you're not missing something, but it's just too bizarre. Like, if he really didn't care about the timeline or certain things, that's like the very fucking number one thing in any investigation is the timeline. Literally.
Yeah.
It is the very first thing, the most important thing.
That's how most
without
people,
the timeline.
Right. That's how most people try to get somebody off for murder is look, I'm going to narrow down your timeline, and then I'm going to prove my guy couldn't have committed the crime in the timeline you said.
And can I jump in real quick?
Yes, totally. I just wanted to make one last point about Xana in the kitchen. If she's in the kitchen on her phone, how is her phone under a blanket next to Ethan in the bedroom?
I agree. Now,
just wanted to add that. Yes.
Yeah. The thing that I've been saying for a long time is that I believe that Brian Kohberger was brought in as an operative, as a witting patsy.
Do you think they sold it to him like a way in to law enforcement? We need you to do this undercover thing for us?
That was one of my theories. And it still is one of my theories, that or he was already working on NIJ research. So he had already been in contact with.
They sent him to WSU.
Right. So this is my bigger point. The timeline has to be later for him to be the guy, right?
Yeah, no, he's not the guy.
Right. So what they're doing is, in my opinion, there was a bigger operation involved in all this. I'm more confident in that than ever. And so here he is, whether he's in prison or not. I tend to think he's probably not even in prison. That's why that leak came out of the video of him in prison. Oh, look at him in prison, everybody. Right? They're putting that in people's heads. Right? So for him to be the guy, you need the later timeline, number one. And number two, you have to dispel the other things, right? So what you can do is you can make people start talking about all this other stuff. And this is where I differ from what a lot of people think. Oftentimes, when there's a flood of information to the public, it's not only to point them at a specific thing. It's oftentimes just to keep them distracted, right? So they avoid certain topics. They try to steer the conversation towards other things because they have a very specific thing they're trying to put across.
That was exactly why. Sorry, really quick. That's exactly why when Kirby said, I don't care about the pong table, it's not interesting to me. That was like a massive red flag, to your point.
Yeah. And so, but a lot of times and again, this is like a whole long discussion for probably better on my channel, but a lot of times they have a specific end game in mind, and by raising questions about Kohberger being the guy or being the sole perpetrator accomplishes several things. Number one, if he's ever going to get out, new information came forward in the Brian Kohberger case and he gets released. They need to plant seeds for that so the public will accept it, right? So you plant seeds without saying who you think did it, because they won't do that. None of them will do that. Not one. They all avoid that. Oh, I'm not going to, that doesn't matter. I'm not going to tell you what I think, but they raise questions about the validity of the evidence. So what that does, and this is all based on my theory, it plants seeds, right, for down the road, because everything is down the road. Now, there are many other scenarios in which the hair wouldn't have been tested. They play the long game. I've talked about this a lot. Regular people like us, we don't plan shit 10 years in advance. Elites do. The elites plan things decades in advance. Their agendas are long term. So I can't pretend to know what else is coming down the pike, with what they're going to use this case for. I have my suspicions, but none of them will say who they think could be a potential perpetrator. But you notice whenever people got close to a certain thing, they all of them steered away from it or shut it down immediately. And so I think a lot of what we're all talking about, we're all on the same page that something bigger is going on here. And so the deployment, I will say, of these people, these quote unquote experts, seems very suspicious to me. And especially with their backgrounds, which I think people should pay more. I'll pull a Chris Wickham and a Turvey. Oh, no. The FBI is not the important thing to be paying attention to about these people's backgrounds. It's that they were contractors, which is a much broader scale. So I'll leave it at that, because I could talk about this shit for hours.
All right, real quick. Let's change out our guests for the night. Azura, I want to thank you so much for coming on and asking some questions and participating with us tonight. Appreciate it so much.
Thank you so much. And I just want to leave you with one thing. Am I the only one that didn't know Wickham worked for CNN or Dateline or whatever? He worked for Dateline.
You're breaking up really bad. You said somebody was working for CNN or Dateline. What'd you say?
Dateline. Wickham used to work for Dateline.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, to Christopher Wickham? Yeah, I know he's been on many shows. I don't know if he works for Dateline. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you,
right,
thank you, Azura, for
guys.
coming on. We're gonna say goodnight. Have a great one. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Azura.
Thank you. Appreciate the chat.
Guys, I'll be right back. I gotta
pee
real quick.
Okay.
Oh yeah. See, I get that. U.S. Claire, what's going on tonight?
Hey, I cannot hear any of you, so I'm going to exit and come back on if that's okay.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So we got one person drinking a lizard. We got one person rebooting their computer. We got Robin talking on the side, and I'm here hanging out by myself.
I am here. All
right. It's all good.
So so many questions in this case. Just so many. Oh,
yeah, for sure. And I think here's the thing. I think it's okay for us to ask questions. We shouldn't be shamed in America for asking questions. And yet that's what's happening, is we're being shamed for asking questions. Like we're somehow disgusting for asking questions. All right, U.S. Claire, are you back? Do you have your sound worked out?
Yes, I can hear you guys. So I would like to talk about, I would like to talk about the Gonzaleses, but I also have a question for the panel, but I would also like to hear what the audience would like to say about it and their opinions. But for the Gonzaleses, I honestly feel like both Steve and Christy are lying about a lot of things, but I feel like Steve is the only one between the two of them who has some truth to what he is saying. And I would like I mean, I'm sure you guys probably like already kind of like dove into that already and said what your piece on that, but I would like to kind of like hear whether or not you guys agree on that or not.
On the idea that Steve, are you saying that out of Steve and Christy Gonzalez, Steve is the only one that seems to have some truth to what they're saying? Is that what you're asking? Or
Yeah, and like I know, like obviously they're not. I fully believe that they're not necessarily saying what they know. I do agree with what you guys are saying, that like something about them like maybe getting like under the table money or something like that to not say anything. But overall, I feel like with all the interviews they have done, Steve is the only one between the two of them who has some truth to what he is saying.
all right, so let's stop for a second. I'm going to get to that question real quick. Fairly special. Thank you for asking about merchandise. We haven't really worked super hard on merchandise, by the way. It seems like it hasn't taken off for us. We tried, and I put a bit of investment in merchandise, and nobody had bought a bunch. But we are trying to get to selling some mugs and stuff like that. This cup, by the way, in case you're asking, I will get back to your question, by the way, U.S. Claire. This cup is from Vegas. We just bought that in Vegas. It's got a Vegas logo on it. So I got my new solo cup from Vegas. But thank you for asking. We'll work on some merchandise. But as far as the Steve Gonzalez, U.S. Claire, and whether or not he seems to, so I do think, I will say this. I believe there's a disconnect between the way that Steve Gonzalez thinks about things and the way his wife thinks about things.
Yeah.
I think, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I think in that family, Christy Gonzalez wears the pants in the family. I think she corrects Steve and brings him into line on what she wants to have presented. So a lot of times I think Steve, being very vocal, will share his opinions, and it's different than his wife. And then his wife will come in and say, no, you're not fucking saying that. And then he kind of, I personally feel like he kind of curtails to his wife's opinion. And I can't
see that too.
necessarily fault the man. I can't fault the man for wanting to make his wife happy, but that's what I see. I see a dynamic in which Steve and his wife are not on the same page. So Steve will say things that I don't think Christy agrees with. And Christy usually wins. When she gets her mindset that it is a certain way and they are going to go a certain way, Steve bends to her will and stops talking and goes with what his wife wants. That's my interpretation of what's happening in that family.
Yeah. And it's a completely separate question that I had in mind. I heard it on like Birdie's channel in the last 2 weeks, and I know that you guys have talked about it, but if there was like in a dream world, if there's going to be like a whistleblower in this case, who do you think it would be? And like anybody.
Well, I think we already are. I think we already are seeing whistleblowers. I think Brent Turvey is a whistleblower. Brent Turvey is coming out and telling you things that we've never heard before. Christopher Wickham, in a way, is a whistleblower. I've been told, and I can't tell you the source, or maybe I have told you the source before, but I'm not going to say it again. I've been told that 2 law enforcement officers with MPD are going to come forward as whistleblowers. So I don't know if that's true or not, but I've been told that Moscow Police Department has whistleblowers in the department that are going to come forward. So I think the whistleblowers in this case are just starting. I think Brent Turvey can be considered a whistleblower. I think Christopher Wickham really can't be considered a whistleblower per se because he wasn't involved in the inside, but he gave a platform for whistleblowers to come forward. So that's my thought on that.
Like do you see like any of like the roommates or friends being whistleblowers like maybe in the next few years? Obviously not right now, but like in the next few years.
I don't, unfortunately. I honestly think the most likely people who can actually shed light into this are people who will go to jail if they say what they actually knew. So I don't expect, I personally don't think they're going to come forward, because if they come forward with what they know, they're going to jail. And so I have a hard time believing that somebody who actually has the key information we need isn't going to jail for shutting up about it. But I don't know.
I don't think a trusted whistleblower is going to come forward anytime soon. I'm suspicious of any whistleblower that comes forward now. I just talked about this on my channel, is serving a different purpose, like a limited hangout type situation. So maybe if it's 10 years down the road and a whistleblower comes forward, then I'd be more likely to think it's legit. But I don't think I trust any potential whistleblower right now.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
My
Good question. It's a good
hope
question.
would be that it would be somebody from MPD, like Lee is saying. But the only way I would end up trusting MPD is if they don't try to steer you away pointedly from any of these kind of questions, from the timeline that the official narrative has put out there, from where things were actually like the ping pong table, the beer pong table, as long as they are not really steering you hard and they're actually answering the questions truthfully. But that would be the only way. But I really think it would have to be somebody like from MPD or Pullman or ISP. It would have to be somebody from one of the, but it would depend on how they answer the questions.
I'm going to give an opinion. I'm going to give an opinion right now based on what you said, Robin. And I don't know if I can articulate this correctly. I feel like certain whistleblowers are between a rock and a hard place. They don't like the fact that Brian Kohberger may be innocent of the crimes that he's been accused of, and that bothers them on a fundamental level. But they're not also excited about throwing friends and colleagues under the bus and having friends and colleagues go to jail for shit. So they're stuck in that difficult situation. Do I do the right thing and speak up for an innocent man and throw away a friend in jail who's going to go to jail for the fuckery? I feel like that's what's the problem with the whistleblowers right now, is they're stuck in that dichotomy that do I do the right thing and say, look, Brian Kohberger didn't do this, and I know he didn't, and it's fucking bullshit. But in order to explain to you why he didn't do it, I have to fucking throw my friends under the bus, and I'm not ready to do that. So that's where we're at right now, I feel, in this case.
Lucy Morningstar commented like a little bit ago saying like in a dream world, like in the world that Dylan lives in, and I thought that was really funny. Like, yeah, like Dylan kind of lives in a dream world. That's kind of funny. So
yeah,
it is funny.
Yeah. Dylan's got a real, I mean, look, in this case, everyone knows Dylan is the one that's the most under fire. Her statements don't make sense. Her testimony doesn't make sense. The delay in the 911 call doesn't make sense. Everybody knows that she's a major problem in this case. So the whistleblower that comes forward, if somebody does come forward, is going to probably tell us something about Dylan. And it leaves us a tough situation because Dylan could go to jail if she lied about shit and the thing. So I don't know if that's going to happen. So I have to be careful. I'm not saying Dylan. What I'm saying is the investigation didn't ask the right questions. That's what I'm saying. And that's what I keep telling my team. We need to be careful when we're questioning this case. We need to not say, I think Dylan was in on it, or I think so-and-so did it, or I think that's not what we're saying. What we're saying is the investigators clearly did not ask basic fucking questions about Dylan's story that any decent investigator should have asked. How the fuck did you not call 911 for 8 hours? How did you not hear the screams? How did you not know your friend who's laying on her back and you can see her laying on her back? You don't see she's in a puddle of blood. Like, how did the investigators not ask the fucking basic questions of Dylan Mortensen? Instead, seem to coach her through, hey, don't worry, you're not in trouble. What if you saw bushy eyebrows? Did you see bushy eyebrows? What if he was wearing this balaclava? Did he wear something like this? They literally coached her through what she needed to say. That's a problem.
Yeah.
And that's where
that goes back to what JJ said. His own theory on what happened. So
can I answer someone's comment in the chat real quick?
Yeah, please do.
It's where is it? Somebody asked me, and I know exactly what they meant. All right, Cindy, Ella. Let's say he is an op, which I can believe, but they wouldn't use an op to cover for a crime committed by other students or drugs. I tend to agree with that. And I have said a lot on the channel that I actually think Dylan, for sure, this is just my theory, she was told what to say. And Bethany was told what to say. They had a contact in that house, I believe. This is my theory. And when shit went down, they called the contact first. So people were at that house long before the 911 call, and they were instructed what to say and what to do because they couldn't let it get out to the public what really happened, of which I have a few theories, because I do believe, again, just my theory, that there was a CI, at least one CI in that house, and that the house itself had something to do with an operation, a much bigger operation. So they had contact people, and that they had those people, they came to the house, which is, in my opinion, why one camera was omitted from existence that would have shown people arriving at that house at a certain time in the night, potentially the 2 a.m.-ish, whatever it is. And that's part of the reason why they're shifting away from the earlier timeline. Don't look over here, everybody. It's 4 a.m., right? So they were told that timeline. They were told to push it, because I tend to not think multi-agencies would be covering for students that committed a crime. That's why I don't think it was Jack D, even though all forensic analysis would point to first to the X or whatever. And I don't think I don't think DM was involved in the way a lot of people think she was. I think she was told what to say. She might have even been told this is what we think happened. And then so she believed their story when they handed her this lone gunman, so to speak, this lone incel guy. She bought it. Now, I think they knew that something happened. I don't know for sure if they knew what really happened. Speaking of the surviving roommates. So that's kind of my theory about that. I don't think an operation would cover for students or something on the ground level of a crime, so to speak.
You know, I want to say this too. I hope this isn't confusing people where I'm going with this. The best way to lie is to base it on as much truth as you can. In other words, and where I'm going with that is timeline issues in particular. For example, if Bethany Funk, for example, saw a bright flash of light and a firecracker sound, and that's something she actually did see, but they want it to have happened at 4 o'clock in the morning, not 2:37 or whatever in the morning when it actually happened, then you still tell the story. Hey, look, there was this firecracker or whatever. All you're doing is you're changing when it happened. The closer you can stay to actual details that happened, that the lie is more believable. Because again, when you're telling a lie, it's easier if you get a lot of the facts right. And so there's questions about the timeline. Did the things actually happen that people say happened, but it happened at a different time? And so they're telling you factually things that did happen because it did happen, or at least close enough like it. But the time might have been shifted. And I think that's the big thing. The timeline is really under scrutiny. And I can understand, again, how Dr. Turvey says, who gives a shit about the timeline? People want to jerk off over the timeline. Okay, yeah, that may be your opinion. You weren't hired to talk about the timeline. But the point being is that for the rest of us, the timeline fucking matters. Why? Because if you say it happened at 4 o'clock in the morning and Brian Koberger was still in Pullman at 2:30 in the morning, and it happened at 2:30 in the morning, then he couldn't have fucking done the crimes. It's everything to us. It's everything to us. Right. And it's not because we want Koberger to walk free. We want to know what actually happened. And we have questions of whether the timeline is. So the timeline is everything. And I understand they want to try to, I don't understand why Christopher Wickham and Brent Turvey want to fucking just completely cement it happened between 4 and 4:20 in the morning, like the official timeline says. Look, I'm going to get off the soapbox. I still don't understand how Christopher Wickham says we can hear the scream at 4:17. I've heard the audio. None. There's no scream at 4:17. There's a horrific scream at around 2:27 or 2:37 in the morning. I can't remember which one it is. So is it the same scream that's been moved on the time? Because there's no scream at 4:17. You can hear the scream. I can't hear the scream. Has anybody somebody please give me the link to the file right now. We'll play the scream at 4:17 if you got the scream. I don't hear it.
Yeah. No, anyway. I don't hear it, and I'm sorry. I don't trust the audio. I've said it before. I'll say it again. They have moved stuff. Why are they giving redacted fucking files to Ann Taylor? Why aren't they giving the correct files to people who are paying good money for these files. They're giving us redacted files and everything. Yeah.
And I
They
wanted
use it
to
easily.
also some comments in the chat. I'm trying to look at the chat, but it's on my phone, so it's hard. I don't have it on my computer. So I studied forensic psychology and read numerous books on profiling. I agree that Jack D would be, by every forensic expert that's ever existed in history, would be the one. Oh, look at another crime cat.
Yeah, you're crime
Yeah, this used to be a kitten. I've had this kitten on stage. He's no kitten anymore. I'll tell you that much. But
no.
But I just wanted to say that, like, the reason. So for me to go to the, like, say Jack D, I'm just responding to the comment. That would make all the sense in the world based on forensic science, right? In fact, no forensic scientist would disagree with that theory. That is literally one of the most foundational theories in the forensics. You go to someone close to the victims who would have motive, a jilted lover, etc., and so on. We all know that. But I just don't think, I think for the school, for multi-agencies, for task force, for whatever, to go to the lengths of a cover-up for, it wouldn't look good for the school, obviously, if a student murdered 4 people. It wouldn't. We can all agree on that. However, that would not be as, I don't think it would necessitate as big of a cover-up as I believe has happened in this case. I think that the house was being used in an operation. I think we can all find evidence that could back that, at least that theory up, and that they didn't want it to get out that due to an operation that potentially the school, potentially local LE, and potentially federal LE was involved in an operation that got students murdered. So they needed to quickly facilitate covering anything that would point to that up. And so that is just part of what I believe, but I agree with everybody that's saying who the logical suspects would be in a case normally. I totally agree with you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
The chat's crushing it tonight, by the way.
The chat is crushing it.
I'm watching the chat. It's hard because I have to look at my phone, but I love what's going on in the chat tonight.
Yeah. Pamela Smith, you're right. They think we are oblivious, but we're, some people are, but most of us, there are how many of us that follow this case and many other cases, and we are not oblivious. We are just not.
Robin, this is what worries me. This is what I want to get your opinion, and especially JJ on this too. One of the things that I'm worried about is during that interview with Crime Talk with the Gonzaleses at the expo at the CrimeCon 2026 in Vegas, he said this previous, or maybe he's current still, defense attorney said, I knew as soon as they had the DNA that this case was over. They have the DNA. There's no question he did it. And I keep saying they did not have the DNA. They don't have Brian Kohberger's DNA, but they keep saying they did. Is it going to get to the point? And let me finish this thought. Is it going to get to the point where if they just say it enough time, it becomes true? And then I'm going to get sued and fucking lose my whole company and everything because I'm saying they didn't have the DNA and they just keep saying it over and over again until it becomes true. Well, we said it was true. So they had the DNA. No, they didn't have the fucking DNA, but they keep saying it over and over and over again. They keep saying they had the DNA, and that's the reason why this case was solved is they had the DNA. They didn't have the DNA, but they're saying it over and over again. So I don't know what to do.
Right. Well, and remind me to not hire him as my defense attorney because he's a defense attorney.
Yes, he is.
Say
right.
that. Yes. So to say that does not give me confidence in him as a defense attorney, because if I was any of his clients, I'd be like, whoa, what do you mean you knew? What do you mean? How did you know?
Yeah.
Like, no. So sorry. If you're a defense attorney, you're not just going to say, I knew it. No, you're not. You didn't know it. Custody queens
as
are
a
a very
defense
good
attorney,
example of that.
Robin, as a defense attorney, Robin, he literally said, people don't plead guilty to things they didn't do. That's what he said. And I'm like, you're a fucking defense attorney and your attitude is people don't plead guilty to things they didn't do? Are you a moron?
Here you go.
Like, read a fucking book, read Framed from John Grisham. People plead guilty to Brian Kohberger in his possession at his fucking apartment had books on why the innocent plead guilty to things they didn't do. And he's like, people don't plead guilty to things they didn't do. And this shit gets repeated in mainstream by people on my channel. DA, how could you possibly think Kohberger didn't do it? He pled guilty. People don't plead guilty to things they didn't do. Oh my fucking God, are you kidding? Educate yourself. People plead guilty to shit they didn't do all the time. Because we have a rigged judicial system where people have an unfair advantage. They're over prosecuted. They've been told that they're going to get the death penalty if they don't plead guilty. And so they plead guilty to avoid being killed, which is exactly what Steve Gonzalez said about Brian Kohberger. Brian Kohberger didn't want to die. They knew they believed he was going to kill him. And so he wanted the Alford plea. I didn't fucking do it, but you're going to kill me anyways. And I don't want to die. That's what that's what Steve Gonzalez said. And I agree. I agree with him. Brian Kohberger pled guilty because they were going to kill him and he didn't want to die. So there you go.
Right. So I and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if he's going to file for, post-conviction relief or not. I hope he does.
I don't know
hope
either.
if he, I don't know, but the time is, I have a sneaking suspicion he's not. I hope he does, but in my way of thinking, some of the reason that some of these documents and stuff are now being released is because he's not.
Look at this fucking cat Icarus behind me.
I know.
I pet him a little bit. He's like, oh
time.
yeah, bring that shit to me, man. Fucking do more of that shit. God,
yeah, he's all in, man. He's all in now. You got another
he's all in.
cat.
I want some more of that shit.
Coda's got competition.
Yep, Coda's got competition. I don't know where Coda is.
He's so wanting attention right now. He's all doing the happy feet and shit.
He's sleeping with his other mommy. Yeah. Yep. Oh my gosh.
What the fuck, Icarus?
And look, I believe I know all about framings that happen. I know all about the fuckery that happens in cases. But in my opinion, I don't see that with this case. I see a much more coordinated thing that has to do with much bigger things. And yeah, you just like cutting me off every time I'm on a rant.
I'm sorry. I want to deal with Pamela's. Go ahead, finish your thought. I will just leave Pamela's thing on screen.
All right. So I understand all that, and I know that stuff happens, and it's very possible. But in my opinion, there's coordination that seems to me to be much more orchestrated at a higher level, in my opinion. And so that is why I understand all these other scenarios, and I agree with a lot of what people say in the chat. It's just in this particular case, I'm very, 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 very confident that BK is an operative.
Yeah, and JJ, I'm very, very hesitant to go down the operative thing because I'm trying not to turn my channel into a conspiracy channel. I do want you to be able to say your opinions, and you're here for that alternate opinion, but I got to be careful about going too far down the operative thing, because again, I don't know that I agree with you, but I don't know that I disagree with you either. So that's the thing. Like, I don't want you to give people, I don't want anybody to get the impression I disagree with JJ. What I'm saying is I don't know that I agree with them. And so I don't want to turn the channel into Kohberger's a Fed and he's working with the feds and he's an operative and whatever. Like I'm not saying JJ's wrong. I'm just saying I'm not sure he's right. And I don't want to have the channel become that. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. Like, I want you to be able to say those things, but I tend not to go too far down the rabbit hole with them. I'm covered in hair, by the way, because fucking hair is flying everywhere. I shouldn't have petted that cat.
Well, look, if BK was framed, that's a conspiracy.
Right. And look, I mean, conspiracy, people say that they don't believe in conspiracies, but there's a reason why in the legal terminology, we have a conspiracy. That conspiracy is a thing. Conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy is a legal definition. When any two people get together to mislead the public about what really happened, it's a conspiracy. And I think this case has conspiracy written all over it. All right, let me finish this comment real quick and then we can move on. Is it a coincidence that Steve and Christy only speak to channels, news stations that preach the original narrative? No, they only speak to anyone who thinks differently. Pamela Smith, this is what bothers me so much. One of the things that Steve Gonzalez said on the stage at CrimeCon is that if people are going to talk about this case, then the family should be invited to say their piece. I will say it again. Steve Gonzalez, come on my channel. We'll have a conversation. I will treat you with respect. Totally. But don't tell everybody you want to be able to be brought to the table when we're saying our criticism and then not come on my channel. So if you want to come on my channel, I will give you that platform and we'll talk. We'll have a conversation. I will treat you fucking fairly and I will ask you to explain things, not because I'm trying to accuse you. I will fucking give you every bit of respect. I promise you. But don't continue to say that we aren't giving you a platform to say your piece. You have an open invitation. Steve and Christy Gonzalez, and Olivia, for that matter, all of you have an open invitation. You tell me you want to come on my show and I will bring you on the show and I will treat you with utmost respect. So don't tell me we're not inviting you to have a say. You have a say on my channel. You have an open invitation. I will have you anytime and I will treat you with respect. All right. Man, I've still got hair flying everywhere. I got hair flying everywhere. That cat has got some issues. All right. Other questions, comments, concerns in the chat? Personally, I don't think doing to what we preach is wrong. I don't think doing to what we preach is wrong. I'm not sure about the grammar on it, so I'm trying to understand what you mean. But I think, well, I'd have to have that rephrased because I don't want to fucking guess at what you're saying. So no offense. I'm just like, I'm trying to make sure I don't actually say something you didn't say.
People are talking about Gonzalez's.
I would love. I said it before, and I'm never going to beg. But I would love to have the opportunity to talk to Steve one-on-one. I would like, and preferably on camera. That'd be great. But I'll talk to him one-on-one privately as well. And again, I don't hate the Gonzaleses. I sympathize with their loss. There's nothing that's going to change that. Having said that, I would love to ask some blunt questions and not to be a dick. Not to be a dick. I would never be disrespectful to those families. They think I am. I'm sure they think I am. I'm sure every time they turn on the channel, if they hear anything about me, they think I'm a fucking disrespectful piece of shit. I'm not. I'm asking legitimate questions. And that's all I want to do is have a one-on-one as a man. Sit down, let's have some fucking drinks and let's fucking talk about this. And convince me. And I guarantee you, I don't care what anybody says. And I'm on a rant tonight. Fucking forgive me for this. But I guarantee you, if Steve Gonzalez convinces me that I got it wrong, I'll fucking correct myself. I'm like, you know what? I had a conversation with him. I now get it. I get it. And I'll fucking explain to you what maybe he couldn't explain. I am willing to be changed. Show me. Tell me what I missed. And I'll preach it to the world. But if you can't prove what I missed, then I'm going to have questions.
Right. And that's what we're asking. That is what we're asking. If we are wrong, show us. I mean, just you coming out and calling us idiots, that doesn't prove a point, because it's when you start doing that kind of thing that your arguments break down and your points break down. So rather than just call us idiots, come have a conversation. Show us why it is that we're wrong, and put some questions to bed. You know, I mean, I really don't think that's too much of I don't know. I just feel, and you know, people are passing legislation and it's preventing us from asking the question. I mean, look at the case of the lawsuit that's going against the one YouTuber that won, $17.5 million. And so now here we are.
Yeah.
You know, are we going to constantly, every time we open our mouths, have to deal? We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to deal with that, because we have legitimate questions.
Yeah. And I am not opposed to saying I was wrong. I'm not opposed to that.
Right.
So just show me I
Me
was
neither.
wrong. Show me I was wrong and convince me. Not on bullshit like, hey, he had to be in the killer because he pinged off the cell tower that fucking services the house. That's not good enough. But you give me something like, oh my God, I can't fucking refute that. I will shout it to the rooftop. Dude, you can't refute this. This is what happened. I now get it. Show me. I want that so bad. I want to put it to bed. I want to put the rumors about Brent Kopacka to bed. I want to end all the speculation about Brent Kopacka. I want to end the speculation that Brian Koberger did it alone to bed. Fucking show me something. I beg you, show me something. I'll preach it from the rooftops. I will fucking convince everybody that will listen that we got it wrong and I got it wrong. But you got to prove it. You got to show it to me.
I want one last comment that has to do with what Steve said. And I just want to say it. I don't think Koberger's in prison. So Steve G, he knows what's going on, in my opinion. He was brought into the fold at some point. He knows way more, right? And so I think that's all just performative. He knows that he's not in prison. He's not going to get popped. None of that's going to happen because he's working with the operation. That's my opinion. And those type of performative statements typically are just used to reinforce the official narrative. Koberger, lone intel, he got arrested, he's in prison, and so on and so forth. That's why I don't think we're going to see anytime soon any post-conviction relief, because they probably have other things going on in the background, in my opinion. So that's my take on his specific statement.
Did I mute myself? Okay. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a great conversation. I enjoy it. Maybe I don't know. Whatever the case may be, people have asked me whether I've reached out to Steve Gonzalez. I don't know how to reach. And look, I keep saying Steve. I keep saying Steve like I don't want to talk to Christy. I'd be willing to talk to Christy. I'd be willing to talk to Olivia. I'd be willing to talk. I know they're not going to. That's why I'm not. The reason why I don't say it a lot is because I don't want to fucking beg. I don't beg people for dick. Actually, phrasing. Anyways, I don't beg people. Right? So the invitation's open. If they would want to talk, I would want to talk, but I'm not going to beg them. And so I don't think that they're willing to talk to me. I think they've decided what I am, and that's the end of the story for them. But if anybody can convince them to talk to me, that don't know how to say it better, I will treat them with utmost respect. I will give them the benefit of the doubt. We'll have a conversation like two fucking people, and we can do it privately or we can do it on screen. I don't care. But anyways, any other comments, questions? We don't have to wrap up, by the way. I'm not in a hurry to leave, but I don't know if my panel is. I don't know if Robin and JJ need to go, but I'm not in a hurry to leave, but I also don't want to drag this out all night long if you guys are bored fucking shitless. Let me know if you guys have questions.
Philly, get your butt up on stage. You have Philly's been real active in the chat, and
Philly is super active. Yeah, Philly is super active.
Come on, Philly special. Philly girls are the funniest women, supposedly. Get up here.
I kid you not. With the Gonzaleses, I'll say this again. I mean, maybe I shouldn't, because now I'm starting to sound like I'm begging. But look, there's not many people that are, in my opinion, there's not many people that are more open-minded than me. I'm totally willing to change my opinion on shit. So if you convince me I'm wrong, and convince me, like, again, I'm not going to just fucking buy a story because you told me a story. I have to fucking be like, oh, if I had known that, I wouldn't say the shit I did. And I will apologize. I'll apologize all day long. But I need to hear it. I need to understand, and I need to be convinced. Like, oh, shit, I fucking got it wrong. If I had known that, and I will fucking apologize. I'll apologize publicly all day long and say, fucking, I got it wrong. Look, we all got it wrong. I'll say it, but we need to be convinced. Oh, Philly special might come on. Woohoo! She's like, give me a minute. Yeah. Give me a minute.
Yeah, all right. Let me
see, DA. I get, DA. You're smart by not going along with my theory, because my theory won't be proven anytime soon. My theory,
Yeah,
if
I
it
get
ever
it.
gets proven, it'll be fucking 20 years down the road. So I get it. I realize this, guys. I can't prove my theory because no document's going to get
I want to say
released and
this about
go,
you.
ta-da.
Yeah, I want to say this about you, JJ, and I want to say this to my group as well. So I lived in the conspiracy world for a long time. I understand conspiracy theories. I actually believe that there's a lot more fucking shady shit going on than we possibly can imagine. So when JJ talks about the things that he does, it's not that I disagree with him. It's just that it's not the focus of our channel. Our channel is focused not on these kind of conceptual, is the government always lying? Do they have an agenda? It's not that. But that doesn't mean I disagree with JJ. So you need to understand this. I fucking think, for the record, I think JJ's fucking brilliant. I think JJ's great. I mean, when I first met him, I was like, fuck, dude, you and I need to fucking have a lot of fucking talks. So I don't want you to think that if I ever shut down JJ, it's not because I'm shutting him down because I think he's wrong. It's because that this platform isn't about some of those grand conspiracy theories. Again, I created a news channel so that we can talk about things like that a little bit outside of what this channel is about. But I just want to make sure you're clear. Anytime I shut down JJ or kind of not go too far with them, it's not because I think he's off the rails. It's because it's not what the focus of this channel is. So I hope I made that clear. And I hope JJ understands that as well.
And now DA and I are going to be competitors. So, because I'm going to be launching more videos soon. I have some time off coming up. And people have asked me to do a live. So I'm going to have to do my first live. And it might not be pretty, but I'm willing to try it. So I'm planning that very soon within the next 3 weeks.
All I'll say before we bring Philly Special on stage, all I can say is this. In my perspective, you and I are not going to have to be competitors. But
it's on, DA.
That's fine. But
it's on, dude.
I don't think we need to be competitors. All right, let's bring Philly Special on. Philly Special, how you doing?
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi.
What's up, Philly?
Yes, I can hear you.
I love you guys. I think you're great.
Love you too. Thank you.
Love your voice, Philly.
Thank you. DA, I actually found you through Birdie. I think you guys, I love the community. I think you're very well balanced and you kind of bring both sides to the table, which obviously devil's advocate, that's the point. But I just have a lot of questions with this case, which kind of goes off of JJ more than anything.
Okay.
So you guys wanted me to come up. What do you want me to talk about?
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Yeah, give us your thoughts. Tell me why you associate with JJ more than me. Give us that.
Because I've said it many times in the chat. My ex-husband was a high-level Fed. He started in the military and then climbed his way up. So I lived in that realm for a long time. So I kind of got an inside view of what that means. So I can relate. And then he turned me on to all of these things that, JJ talks about with the books and stuff that we've read. And I think I made a comment earlier about Steve G in the beginning where he really did come out as what you would think a father would. He was angry. He was pissed off. He was ready to fight, right? And then all of a sudden, he started backtracking or talking differently. But if you notice, he only does that when the wife is around, right?
Yeah. So, if before you go too far, Philly, I want to say this, and I got to be super careful because I'm not admitting to a crime. Right. Are you ready? I'm not admitting to a crime. Right. But I told my wife one time, and I said, look, I'm going to have this conversation with you off camera and shut your fucking phone off. I don't want everything. And here I am going to talk about it on YouTube. But I said, if Steve Gonzalez ever come to me and said, I've got proof of who actually did it, I'd fucking get in a car with him and fucking take care of the problem with him. That's how fucking angry I was. That's how much I'm like, I do not accept that some motherfucker is walking free for this. And I said, if Steve were to convince me that he knows who did it, I'll get in the car with them. we'll fucking go take care of business. Now, again, it's super dangerous, right? Because you're saying on TV that you're going to commit a crime. It's not what I'm trying to go down. What I'm saying is that's how much I sympathized with Steve Gonzalez as an angry father. But something changed. I feel like something changed in Steve, and I don't know what it was.
Something definitely did, and I'm going to go back to what JJ said, which I think is very important for the whole community.
Your volume just dropped a lot.
I'm sorry. Is it better?
Yeah, that's better.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, now. Yeah.
So when you go in the documents, you have to understand. So when, and I'm saying this from a Fed level, so I can't tell you what position my ex was in because that it would give it away. But when people on the scene write a document, right, when they write everything they have to write up, they have to submit it to their higher ups, and their higher ups have to go over that. And then they will go back to the person on scene and be like, I think you need to change this and you need to change that. So when you go off the documents, those documents are edited.
Yes.
Okay. And Lee, if I'm wrong, you know what I'm talking about because I think you were in that world, if I'm correct, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So you're not getting, when we get these documents released, you're not getting the actual exactly what they put down on paper at that time, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with a lot of the documents, which is frustrating because we're never going to get the actual, just like with the body cam can be manipulated too. Whether you want to believe that or not, it can be.
Yeah,
sure.
Things can be taken out. They can be cut. I think we've all seen that with all of the Ring camera footage that we've seen. So
Agreed.
Right. So I think this case is just so frustrating because we all know, everybody in this community, I think, know in our gut, it's off. It's not right. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I don't want to oversell what I know, but I did work with the intelligence community. So I was a IT person, so I worked on computers. But in order to work on computers, I had to have access to a SCIF, which is a secret compartmentalized information facility. So I worked in a SCIF. I had access to all kinds of classified documents and top secret stuff, and it's kind of above top secret. I mean, there's top secret and then there's SCI, and I was a SCI, which is above top secret. So I've been in the world. I know a little bit about the world. And it doesn't mean I don't want to oversell. I wasn't a Fed. I didn't work as an investigator, but I will tell you that there's a big difference between what they're allowed to say to the public and what they actually know. So you're absolutely right. Like what they tell the public, they're not allowed to talk about shit. It's a fucking government secret to talk about certain shit. So, and in fact, they can lie. Yes. They can lie about shit because it's classified, right? And so I'm going to give an example, and I hope it won't lose you. No. Apple, for example, Apple phones, which I bragged about. Apple can tell people in the public, we won't give our backdoor information to the government, and might actually still be doing it. Because if their agreement to give the FBI backdoor access to their phones is classified, they can lie all day long to the public and say, we will fucking never give the FBI that information. And the FBI can never correct them and say, yeah, you have given it because it's classified. Their agreement is classified. So they can say all they want publicly that's different.
The NSA already has that information.
Exactly. And that's Lee, you and I are right on point, because that's what other people have to understand is the defense or the prosecution, but mostly defense, are only going to get what the FBI wants to release to them, because they're under no obligation to release everything that they have.
Yeah.
And
look, here's the thing. So I'll be honest. I hope I'm not going on a super tirade. I've met people in the intelligence agency. There are good people and there are bad people there, just like any walk of life. So there are good people there that don't like the fact that they can't tell the public what's really going on, but they are obligated. I myself am like that. I will tell you this. I know shit that I will never tell you because I took an oath. I said I would never tell anybody about it. So I know shit. I would love to fucking tell you shit I know. I can't. I took an oath, and I will fucking keep that oath to the day I died because I believe in that. It's a fundamental belief of mine. But there's other people that fucking have a problem with that. They're like, fuck, we're fucking doing illegal shit. We're fucking violating the United States Constitution.
Yes.
Everything we're doing is illegal. So look, I'm one of those people that believe that if you take an oath, you take an oath. So I fucking took my oath. I won't say shit. But
I think you bring up a good point, because it's not that they're bad people. It's just that there's just certain things that they're just not. Like, I used to have this game that me and my ex would play. I'm like, okay, on our anniversary, you got to tell me something really top secret that you can't tell anybody, right? But they can't.
Yeah.
It's just like, and I saw him. The biggest thing was during COVID. I said in the comment, like, if you want to climb high in those agencies, you really do have to give up your moral compass. You really do. And I saw him struggle, but he had already given, he gave 18 years, like he's almost 20, like he had already given so much time in it. But people have to understand, I'm not saying that they're bad people. It's a struggle.
No.
It's a real struggle.
Yeah, and I feel like we're probably digressing really far off. But you're right. Here's the problem. But it's important, and I hope I don't lose everybody. But you're right. Like, so some people like myself believe in your word is your bond. So if I say I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to say something, you're not going to say something. But then you have that problem of like, look, what we're doing is illegal. So do I keep my oath that I'm not going to say anything, or do I rat on the fact that you're fucking doing illegal shit? And there's protections for whistleblowers to be able to say shit that about illegal activity, but
not really.
Not really.
not as much as you think, right?
And not to get off the topic, but I can tell you, like, they know everything about you, because I can tell you when we started dating, before we moved in, like, you want to talk about a full, like, in-depth background on me, like everything that I had to go through for us to even, before we were married, before we even moved in together. Like, it is like they have you, they have you by the balls.
Yeah.
So you
Philly, I've got stories. I've got stories about people they investigated around me when I was going for my security clearance, and the people that they had to investigate and crawl up my ass to fucking verify my stories. I got stories about the people they investigated around me. So I get it. Like, they crawl up your ass with a fine-tooth comb and see what kind of person you're about. But,
well,
I digress.
I was one of the people that got interviewed for a friend of mine who was going for clearance with the feds. And because we had class, we went to school together. We were friends, and he had me as a reference. So I got an investigator, paid me a visit, and they were like, "We'll come anywhere you need us to go." Yep. They're like, "Oh, you live, you're at the Jersey Shore. Where's your office?" I mean, they would not back off.
They'll fly across the country to go see you if they need to. Yeah.
And they know everything about you. So my point, bringing it back to the case, is with Steve G, and when he first reacted and now his difference is, I really think for Steve, not for, I really think that I really think Kaylee was involved in something that they don't want us to know about because of the brutality of her death.
I agree. I agree. There are things about this case that the federal government does not want people to know about, and that's why, in my opinion, they're sticking with the timeline, because they don't want people to look about what really happened. They don't want you to know what really happened. And here's the dichotomy: they have people who are like, I don't like the fact that Brian Kohberger isn't really the guy that did the things they said. And so I got that problem, but I also can't give up government secrets about what really happened, because that's fucking national security level kind of shit. And so you've got people that are stuck with this dichotomy of, do I say something or do I not something? I took an oath to the country not to violate shit. And that could be happening in this case. There could be people who are holding information because they're like, I don't like the fact that an innocent man has to go down for this, but I'm not allowed to say dick because it's It's a government fucking secret, and I can't and I took an oath. I'm not going to reveal the secret. So what do you do when you're stuck between the letting somebody go to the jail for something that they may not have done or protecting the government and their secrets? So
come on, Philly, back me up here.
And I don't think he's in jail. I don't.
Thank you.
I think he is what we've seen throughout history. I think he's a patsy. I really don't think he's in jail, because you have to look at it from his perspective, right? This is a very educated person. He won't speak. He won't give any type of interview. He didn't say a word the whole time this happened. We have no access to him. And then with the Wickham Turvey thing, they came out of nowhere right at a time when we were really digging in. I feel like
I want to ask you, Philly. I want to ask you, Philly and JJ, this question. And it's going to sound like I'm baiting you and I'm being a dick, but I'm not. I'm going to ask you this question. Mm-hmm. If Kohberger ends up getting killed, so he gets put in general pop or whatever, and somebody looks the other way and Kohberger gets killed.
Supposedly.
Will you believe that actually happened?
Nope.
Or will you double down and say that wasn't Kohberger? The whole thing's a story. Kohberger's still alive. He's out of jail. He never was in jail. And that whole story about him being killed in prison is a ruse that didn't happen. What would you guys say?
I say yes.
You'd say yes, that it was a ruse, that he didn't actually get killed?
Because I don't think he is.
No, I've said this in the past. If they need to facilitate if there's a larger operation going on. So if they need him out of the picture as far as the public is concerned, they could tell us anything. Mm-hmm. Somebody got him in prison, or this happened or that happened. So for me, no, 100%, no way I'll believe it. I've never been, so I'm very, very confident that he is a witting patsy. He's not a patsy that they framed. He's a witting patsy. And no one will ever debate me on this, because I can go for 3 hours straight with logical connections about why I believe this. It's not just I had this idea in my head. I've gone through every scenario, how and why, and I could write a 50-page thesis about it. Mm-hmm. So I think that no, Epstein absolutely didn't kill himself, and he wasn't murdered. He's alive, of course. Anyway, thanks, E-Potty. But my whole point is, I don't think your average person, I really, and this is not a dig at anybody, understands when big operations are in play, how sophisticated they are. And that's not a knock on anybody. It's not a knock on anybody. It took me years to start understanding it. So I would say, yeah. Well, DA knew what I was going to say. So he was just setting me up. He knew what I was going to say.
Well, I agree with you. All you have to do is look back in history, and I'm with JJ. It took me years, a lot of reading, a lot of research, and luckily I had my ex who could validate, I guess, that, because when you go down that rabbit hole, you're like, am I crazy? Am I the outlier? And I was lucky enough to have someone who could validate those things. But if you go back in history, we're seeing the same play over and over again. I think the only difference is people's eyes are now starting to be wide open. And you have podcasters like yourself, DA, that are like bringing it up front. And I'll go back to the Wickham Turvey thing. Notice they did their mass thing on all the podcasts that were like the big podcast in this story, right?
Well,
yeah, the dissident
podcasts.
Yes.
Let's talk about that, Philly. One of the things I was interested in, and it bothers me because I've liked A.R. Hayes from a Convict's Thoughts, right, on YouTube. I've liked him. I've had nothing but good experiences with him. But he went public and said, I got played by Christopher Wickham. One of the things that happened was Christopher Wickham started out his book publishing foray on A Broken Plea by going on YouTube channels. And I was his very first interview. I don't know if people know that, but I was his very first interview. And even Christopher has said to me, I still owe you a debt because you were the first person to do the interview with me and whatever. And I don't know if he's just playing me as a Convict's Thought says, A.R. Hayes, you've been played. This guy's just playing you. But I want to ask you, like, do you feel like Christopher Wickham was playing a game by saying things like YouTube, for example, is the new, how do you call it? You're the new era in news, right? Legacy media is kind of fading off. You're the new era. And so I want to do my interviews with YouTubers first. What was the game? What was the game that he was playing, if it was a game, to go to people like me and Birdie and Lana and stuff like that? Because again, he was very much courting Lana. He wanted Lana from Truth and Transparency very badly. So he went on with Birdie. He went on with myself. He went on with Custody. Did he go with the Custody Queens? I think he did go with the Custody Queens as well.
Yeah.
And he did that before he started going on Fox News and fucking ABC News and all these other places. What do you think was his play on that? Did he play us all? Is there?
Yeah. Because people know the majority are not getting their news from mainstream. The majority of us are getting our news from podcasters. And we are, and lover or hater, like JJ said earlier, Candace Owen, which I think she's amazing. But these are the people that people are running to. They're listening. They're digging in, where the mainstream, they're not buying in anymore. The majority of us, like your older generation, listen, I grew up where, mom and dad would put the news on at the end of the day, and if it was on the news or in the paper, that was fact, right? That was it. We're a different generation, so they know this is where the information is being shared. So yeah.
Well, Philly, I want you to be honest. Mm-hmm. So the argument is, I was played and I'm too stupid to see it. Am I stupid? Was I played by Christopher Wickham? Was I played and fell into his trap?
You
and I
played,
thought he was telling us the truth, and I was.
No, I think there's half truth and half lies in that. I think it was all about deception. It's not about being played. Yeah. It's about JJ, help me here. It's about confusion. It's almost about let's create these different rabbit holes. It's not about stupidity. JJ, you're being quiet.
Well, I've told DA this before.
He doesn't want to get fired from the channel.
DA, Birdie, the Custody Queens should be very proud. You've got your own CIA handler now.
I got to pay. I appreciate it, JJ. I really I love that you guys handled me.
Here's what people
I'm talking about
Wickham. No. Here's what people don't understand about Lee.
I love Lee.
Okay, and I've been working with Lee since last August. We're going on close to a year. What people don't understand about Lee is it's never a good idea to underestimate him.
Right.
So maybe on the surface, things might look a certain way, but trust me, it is never a good idea to underestimate Lee. So I'm going to put that out there, and I will put that up against anybody's opinion.
No, and I agree,
fuck, Robin, I owe you another commission check. God damn it.
No, I agree, Robin, and that's what drew me to his channel, because that's what I mean. He's very like, he's very like, here's A side, here's B side. He's never just like, this is A side. Do you know what I mean?
His mind is always working.
Right.
Okay. His mind is always working. So for anybody who thinks that, they don't know him as well.
No, and I can say other channels don't do that, because I've been running through your members only like stuff like crazy. But that's what I like. It's like, what I love is, like, I could be wrong, but this is my thought, which a lot of channels don't do that. You know what I mean? He gives both
Right.
sides to it, which
right.
my
And
point is he
Lee is an
doesn't,
excellent judge of character.
right. He didn't take, some other channels took Wickham and Turvey as, oh, this is fact, these are experts, this is it. You know what I mean? They didn't dissect it down, which
right.
This is what keeps me always tuning in and come back, because it's like, okay, they said this, but look at this and look at that. That's what I
And
mean
like
by that.
Lee is always saying, you have to pay attention to what they're not saying.
Exactly.
You have to pay attention to what you don't hear. And Lee is very good at reading between the lines that way. So because he's come out to be right on a lot of different things. So, and I'm not blowing smoke up your ass because you ain't paying me jack. So
I know you're trying to make me blush like a schoolgirl. You guys are talking nice about.
Oh my
God! I appreciate it.
No, no. See, what people need to understand about me is that I know people are like, "Oh, Robin's quiet and everything." Well, as you see, I'm not really quiet. I'm not really quiet, and I call things how I see it. And this is what I see, because I don't blow smoke up anybody's ass. I don't care who you are. So this is how I see it, and this is how I feel. So.
No, and when I just joke with DA, and we've joked about it offline, and I say, you've got your own handler now, you should be proud, because we're the dissident community. We are the Birdie, DA,
wholeheartedly,
custody queens, Lucky, there's a bunch of us, and we are the dissidents. We are not going with the narrative that would get more. DA would have more people following his channel if he didn't question, if he went along with things, right? So I joke like that because, we joke about stuff like that offline. So what I'm saying is we were recognized as one of the, handful of dissident channels that probably are onto shit. That's really my point.
And JJ, I want to reiterate that. I feel like we could be a much bigger channel if I sold out, right? If I sell out and I start doing certain things a certain way because I just want to maximize our profits, we'd be a much bigger channel. But we're not doing that.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, 1 second orgasm. Sorry.
Yeah. And so when I joke, I'm a very self-deprecating person. Like, nobody shits on me like I shit on myself. Like, I know that I can go pretty far out there, but I've learned to be careful of where I say certain things and what I say. I'm not blind to that type of stuff, but I also am very opinionated. And when I feel strongly about things, I will not relent just because people disagree with me. Right. And I think that's what we have here on this channel is that I've seen it. We have the ability to let people, as long as people are logical, right? That's the most important thing to me. You can't, I've heard some theories, all right, a lot of theories. You can't go with a theory if you cannot at least, because we're probably never going to have solid evidence about this case. That's my opinion. At least not in this decade. If you cannot logically, like if you were having a debate with somebody, a logic debate, right? If you can't back up your argument with logic, then I can't even, it goes in one ear and out the other for me. So that's why I make sure that for my very strong opinions, I have logic that I can back it up with, right? And I'm glad that some people agree with my take on things, because it does make me feel like I'm not spinning my wheels, but that's the way my brain works, and I can't change that.
But JJ,
and don't. And you know what, you guys, my mother would be loving this. She would be like the biggest fan, because I've said this before. She was way ahead of her time. She was way ahead of her time and called this shit out. I can remember when I was little, and I was born in 1971. So we're going back here, folks. And I'm sure she felt the same way even before that. So she, and one of my uncles was in naval intelligence, and so I'm not there's but no, and this is why we can't let up, because these questions that we're asking are too important, and we have to keep pressing forward. And I see it in the chat night after night. They're so glad that we're doing what we're doing, and so
But let's
I
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, Philly.
No, what I want to say, especially JJ, it's a lot of information. It's a lot of information that we had our eyes closed to for a long time. So to take that information in, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot. And that's why I try to recommend books, because,
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love doing that because I don't have as much time as I used to do research, but for many years, that's all I did was read. And so I like to say, and I give people's intelligence a lot of credit. I don't hold people's hands. I'll give books that I'll recommend books that sound completely unrelated. But if anybody pays attention, and hopefully they will start following my channel, you will be able to find a common thread in almost every single book or documentary that I recommend. And I may give my take on how it's relevant, but people will be able to see what I'm getting at, that there are common threads with the things that I recommend.
No, and there is. And Robin, back to you. Like, my dad was a high-level Marine, and he had 3 daughters. God bless his soul. He was the same way. He was just like, no, you have to look at this. You have to look at this. It's
right.
a lot to have your eyes open. I feel like it takes a lot of energy, and I don't know how to say this in the right way. I get in a certain way why people's eyes are wide closed instead of wide open, is because it's just the easier route, right? It's just like, oh, they caught the guy. This is it. Done.
Well, and it's also because we're taught that from the time we're little.
Exactly.
Like we're and then a lot of my family are service members. But that does not mean that I don't understand that there is a lot of shit happening that most people just are not aware of, don't want to see, or don't have the bandwidth. That's the other problem, is that some people just cannot. They don't have the bandwidth, the energy, like you're saying, Philly. They don't have it. And that's not a knock on them. But those of us who do have the bandwidth, I'm more than happy to carry that torch if need be, for those who can.
It's taxing, right? It's taxing
Sure it
when
is.
your eyes are wide open, because it's just it's exhausting.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
By the way,
I agree.
I want to bring up at this point, on stage with the Gonzaleses, Andy Cahan, I think is his name, who is one of the founders of Murder Has a Name, the Kayla Gonzalez Foundation. He stated, true crime as a genre is exploding, and it's not going away anytime soon. And I knew that was something I'd heard a lot, but I asked AI, why is it that true crime is exploding? And I was surprised at the answer. They said was, the American public is getting dissatisfied with mainstream media, and they don't believe that they tell them the truth anymore. And people are turning to alternative stories like YouTubers because they no longer have trust in the mainstream media. And I think that's huge, because CrimeCon promotes the mainstream media story, but it is us who are now waging that. We're fostering the new wave of true crime. True crime is exploding because people in America, whether you believe it or not, people in America no longer just blindly trust what the media tells them. And they realize that we're being lied to, and people are waking up. And I think that's an amazing thing. And it's the reason why we're doing as well as we're doing, which is because people are starting to not trust mainstream media's bullshit.
Exactly. So. And I want to go back to when Bertie had said that Wickham had stated that his book was released earlier than expected. I went to Barnes & Noble that very next day. First of all, they have this whole new area, I can only say in Philly, that's all true crime. And I asked where the book was, and they're like, we haven't released it. You're the 5th person that came in today asking for this book. And it's not right. And I'm just telling you from my own, it hasn't been released yet. And they're like, oh, but you can pre-order it, you know, here, here, and here. So you're absolutely spot on with the whole true crime. Because we
and look at CrimeCon. At CrimeCon, they were selling Christopher Wickham's book. It was actually in the expo or in the merch store for you to buy. Broken Plea. So yeah, it's funny because the story. It's funny because in particular, Philadelphia was the first place I'd heard Barnes & Noble was selling the book ahead of time. And in fact, I was the one, I know this sounds like I'm bragging. I'm not trying to brag. I was the one that contacted the agent for Christopher Wickham and said, did you realize people are saying they've already bought a copy of this book in Philadelphia? I think it was Scranton, Philadelphia. Is that a town in Philadelphia? I think it is.
That is near me.
People were saying on my channel that they had, PA, right. So they had actually purchased a copy, and it was the publisher that said, holy shit, we've lost containment. The book is already being sold in Barnes & Noble in Pennsylvania. And so, yeah, it's just an interesting side piece. That book did get early released in Barnes & Noble. I don't know across the country or just in Pennsylvania, but it was interesting.
Hey, Philly, before we wrap up, turn up your volume a little. People in the chat were saying they can't hear you.
I'm sorry. It's on high. Can you guys hear me?
It's probably just the StreamYard or whatever. Well, you know, I think that to comment on what I've seen people say in the chat, it is very exhausting to be awakened in this day and age. And because I've learned to like turn it off, you know, but when you know what's coming down the pike, because if you know the end game, in my opinion, it's very easy to predict things.
Yes.
And I've had people come to me and say, how did you know that? And I'm just like, it's not hard. If you know what they're trying to do, what the agendas are, anybody can predict what's coming down at some point or some version of it, right? It's almost impossible to know exactly what they're going to do with these major big scale agendas and whatnot. But it does get exhausting to be, because I don't know why I have a brain like this. I've seen so many things in advance and people told me I was crazy.
And it's a blessing and a curse. Yeah. I will tell you, as a nurse, with the whole off-topic COVID thing, I like saw it from a mile away, and you're just standing there like watching it happen, and you're like, wait, stop. What are you doing? You know what I mean? So it's difficult, but I just, my last thing would be like, just go with your gut. Follow your gut. Who cares what everybody else thinks or says? You know what you know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and along that line, Philly, this is what I hope people get, is I want us to live in America where freedom of speech and you're allowed to share opinions. Let's just sit down at the fucking coffee table together and have a few drinks and talk shit out. And we shouldn't be scrutinized and shut down because your opinion is wrong and we need to fucking shut you down. Like, look, let's believe in freedom of speech. Let's believe in the ability to question the official narrative. Let's believe that we live in a country where you can question authority, where you can question your government, where you can say that maybe we're being lied to, and let's have that conversation. And there should be nothing wrong with it. We should never be shamed because we ask questions. That's the way I want to pattern this show. Is this just us sitting around having a conversation and sharing thoughts, and hopefully to God they don't shut us down because our thoughts are somehow illegal.
And
so
Lee, I love that, because I feel like what I've said so many times over the last probably 2 years is, if I sit down with people and have a conversation, we're pretty much on the same page. If you take all the noise out of it, we're all on the, we all want the same thing. You just got to take the noise out of it.
Philly, you bring up a great point. Here's the thing. People don't realize what you're told on TV that America thinks is often not the same thing that your average neighbor will say when they sit down to the table. Your average neighbor thinks a lot more like you do than you realize. But they tell you on the media that all of America thinks this way. You're an outlier. But you sit down with real people, and real people think more like you do. They want you to believe in some kind of dystopian psyop, JJ. It's a fucking psyop. They want you to think you live in America that you're not living in. Your neighbors don't give a fuck about mainstream media, but they want you to think that everybody believes in mainstream media, but your neighbors don't. And you need to wake up. They want you to think you live in a different fucking country than you really live in. Talk to your fucking neighbors. They think the way that you do a lot of times.
Yeah, because what do most people want? Okay, let's think about it. Okay, people want a decent wage. They want to be able to feed their family. They want to be able to have an education. They want to be able to buy a fucking car. That, we want these kind of normal ass things. Most of us don't sit, JJ has said it. Most of us don't sit out sitting down plotting, how can I make $2 million this year?
Right.
Most of it, we don't.
I agree with you, Jenny.
I didn't see what she said, but I think Lee hit on a really good point, is we don't talk to each other anymore.
Right.
And if we just talk to each other, we would see, even if our beliefs are different in regards to politics, religion, whatever it does, we all want the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We've talked about on the show many times the lack of communication anymore these days.
Yeah, I struggle, Robin. I struggle with it with my boys. I'm like, you guys will do anything in the world not to have a conversation. You'll text, you'll email, you'll scan a QR code, but you just have to have a conversation. And that's what I love about this channel. We have a conversation. And I think that's important.
Yeah.
God, that's amazing. And in fact, I think we're going a little long. We'll wrap up here, but what a great way to end. No, what a great way to end the show. Let's fucking treat each other like a couple of people sitting down at the table, having a drink and sharing our thoughts and not being disrespectful to each other. I think, again, everyone feels a lot more like each other than we realize. Mainstream media wants you to believe that we all live in some kind of fucking world where they believe everything they're told, and we don't. So again, Philly, I think I appreciate you coming on. I think that we all need to have more just open conversations and share and look, don't be judgmental with each other. If you and I disagree with, it's okay. Let's disagree and have a conversation about it. That's one of the things we've lost in America, is the ability to have a conversation with somebody and not have to fucking dig in and entrench yourself and be like, my position's right and your position's wrong. Let's just have an open conversation. So I know I'm fucking on a big, huge soapbox.
Yeah, but I agree. I agree with both of you guys. And I understand also that a lot of people have been psyoped. So that's where a lot of this division comes from. They believe that there's a side and there's another side that oppose each other. And so you're against this people who think this, and I'm against people who think that. That's all psyops. It's very deliberate.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love all of you.
Thank you, Philly.
Thanks,
JJ.
Thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
I am waiting for a live. I'm holding you to it.
It's coming up. I
Lee,
have
Robin,
time off.
Love you guys. Thank
you.
So much
It's coming
on.
soon.
care,
I'll post on the community tab on my channel when it's going to be.
All right. Thank you.
pretty soon, JJ's not far from being monetized. He pretty soon can quit his job with the CIA and actually do YouTube full time.
Yeah.
So we're excited about that.
That's
So
it.
Because then I
let's help him get that
can
way.
lose my handler and he can do some fucking, yeah, exactly. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thanks, Philly, for coming on. It was great hearing from you and putting a voice to the longtime supporter of the show. By the way, just to let you know, you said you found me through Birdie. I love Birdie. Birdie is awesome. But Birdie and I have different styles of show. But, Birdie and I used to go on a regular basis. We haven't done something for a very, very long time. I hope he feels the same as I do. There's not any love loss in the channels. We just have different directions. But Philly's, I appreciate you coming on. I appreciate you being a supporter of our show. And thank you for hanging out with us every night.
Thanks, Philly.
All right. What do you guys think? Let's go ahead and wrap up for the evening. Do you guys have any last minute thoughts, JJ, Robin, about tonight's show or parting thoughts at all?
No, just thank everyone for hanging out with us each and every night. Like Lee said, I'll do the plug. Do all the things, like, subscribe, share. $2.99, you can become a member, and like Philly said, there's all kinds of great stuff to dig back through. I mean, but just really appreciate all of our mods. Amanda, Essie, and Daenerys. We really appreciate everything that you do, as well as Cat Farm. We cannot forget about Cat Farm. We appreciate her, and there's many people who help us. So come hang out in our Discord. There's all kinds of ways to communicate with us. Facebook. So yeah.
And real quick, one who oftentimes joins us. He's not been able to join us as much as he used to because his new job as a captain of NYPD has changed his schedule a lot. He was telling us tonight he was en route to a murder scene or a dead body. Sorry, not necessarily a murder scene, but a dead body. And I asked him privately, I said, how many dead bodies have you seen in your career? Hundreds, he said. Hundreds. Yeah. So how crazy is it? We have a regular panelist who has seen hundreds of crime scenes, hundreds of dead bodies in his career, and was literally tonight couldn't be part of our show because he was on his way to another dead body in New York City. So that's the kind of cool things that we have with this channel. I appreciate you guys letting us have this opportunity to share with you our thoughts and opinions. Hope you check out the new video dropping tomorrow morning for the public at 8 a.m. about shocking statements made at CrimeCon. If you want to get a pre-look at that, sign up for the members only. It's only $3, and you can check out a whole lot of other members only content. That video is available right now for members only. Robin, JJ, thank you so much for staying late tonight. I know that we used to do this in 2 hours. Now we're approaching 3 hours on a regular basis. We just keep hanging out longer and longer and longer. I appreciate you guys taking the time. JJ, congratulations on your channel. Your channel's at 600 plus subscribers. You're almost monetized. I'm excited for your opportunity to finally leave the CIA and make it as a YouTuber. So thank you.
That's the goal. Leave the agency. And thank you to everybody. And I just will say this. I do have vacation coming up next week, and I plan to release a string of videos because I've been busy lately. I will have another one this Sunday, but I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna try it. People have do it live. People have asked
do it live,
and I'm not gonna be smooth at it, but I'm gonna do it, and it'll be a fun topic, and it'll be a good discussion, and everybody's can be a part of it. It's going to be real. Like, you guys know how crazy I am, the way my brain works, but it'll be fun. And I'm very thankful that people have supported me. And thank you to the denizens and meatballs, and the mods are freaking awesome. And I'm very thankful. So I'm glad I found you guys.
Likewise.
Yeah. And thank you so much. Also consider checking out my alternate channel, The Devil's Advocates Beyond, where I talk about UFOs. And by the way, I'm starting to get very, very quickly boned up on the Las Vegas shooting from 2017, which I believe still stands as the largest mass shooting in the United States. I'm going to start digging into the conspiracy theories and taking a look at it. basically 10 years later? What still is out there that is out the conspiracy theories that haven't been answered? What has been answered and all those things? Again, this was presented at CrimeCon, got a great presentation, and it reopened my eyes to the Vegas shooting. I know JJ's interested in it. I'll try to get JJ on my alt channel as well. I'm sure he has thoughts. Birdie has thoughts about the Vegas shooting. So anyways, thank you all for coming. I'm going to shut the fuck up at this point. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Night Fuckery at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8, I think, Eastern Standard Time. And have a great day. Everybody take it easy.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.